AEW. So hopefully that's going to show itself tonight. Hopefully we're going to get something interesting, actually booking-wise as well, and something for us to get our teeth into. There's loads of matches and segments that have been announced for tonight. So loads for us to look forward to. If we just quickly jump into the preview, let me see if I can find it. Here it is. So we've got the Acclaimed taking on Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. We've got Swerve Strickland taking on AR Fox. We got Bryan Danielson taking on Tony Nese. We got Samoa Joe taking on Darby Allin. We got Ricky Starks taking on Chris Jericho, which would be amazing. Jade Cargill and Red Velvet against Kiera, Hogan, and Skye Blue. Jon Moxley promo. We're going to get an injury update for Hangman Adam Page. There's an MJF segment as well. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 segments that have been announced for tonight. So we've got a really good idea as to what it is that we're going to be seeing tonight. And it should be really, really good. Obviously, it's going to be very hard for them to follow Wrestle Kingdom, which was earlier today, and obviously is the talk of the wrestling world. It's going to be very difficult to do that, but we'll have to wait and see what they can follow it up with. Obviously, no Kenny tonight because he wrestled earlier. No FTR tonight because they wrestled earlier. They're over in Japan. There's a great picture doing the rounds where you've got Mercedes Moné, FTR, and Bayley. I think all backstage, got their arms around each other, giving up peace signs. It's a really cool picture. I also saw an image of Mercedes Moné giving a hug to Naomi. So Naomi, we knew that Naomi was there, but to my knowledge, she wasn't shown on the show. Neither was Bayley. But there's an image doing the rounds of her hugging backstage, Mercedes Moné. So it's been a busy day today, and the bump as well just aired, and LA Knight was talking about how he doesn't know what a pitch black match is. He is not worried about the pitch black match. He said that Bray can't even keep his goons in order, so why should LA Knight be worried about a pitch black match? So that I was just watching a bit of that. That was kind of interesting. So yeah, I mean, look, it's a busy day and there's lots going on, lots to talk about. Days, what would you give Ospreay Omega? I thought it was a 4.25. Ospreay said he sacrificed one more year. If he doesn't get success in New Japan, he'll go elsewhere. Okay. I would give it. Oh man, it's either a 4.75 or a 5. Like, I really loved it, I really enjoyed it. It's really difficult because it's one of those for me where there's a couple of moments in the match where I wasn't quite feeling it. There's a couple of moments where they go a little OTT. I think I seem to recall Ospreay launching himself to the outside, and there was a couple of other little moments in the match where I was like, didn't need this. Other than that, I absolutely loved it. Other than a couple of moments where I was just like, I think they've gone a bit too far here, or I just didn't think it needed this. Like the table spot. There's a spot where he jumps onto the table and he actually jumps through the table. I don't think I've ever seen that before. I don't know. He put a table on top of Omega. He went to the outside, did a double stomp onto it. No, it was Omega, sorry. It was Omega that did the stomp onto the table, onto Ospreay. He actually jumps through the table. The table actually breaks, and he stomps through it. It looked brutal. What I will say about the match, so for me, 4.75 or 5, right? I might go 4.75, only because I'm not like Meltzer, right? I ain't going to do this 5.25, 5.5, 6 stars, 6.5, 7 stars. I ain't doing that nonsense, right? If it's a 5-star match, it's a 5-star match, right? You don't need to be doing all this stupidness of it's 6, it's 7 stars, it's 8 stars, it's all the stars, right? For me, 4.75 or 5, I'll probably go 4.75 Because if it was a 5-star match, I think I would be like, no, it's a 5. I think I would absolutely categorically be sat here saying it's a 5-star match. That is a 5-star match, right? And I wouldn't argue. If people in the chat want to tell me that's a 5-star match, I won't argue. I'm quite happy. If Meltzer gives it 5, you'll get no moaning from me. I honestly won't argue it. I really, really, really enjoyed it. There was so many great spots. But one thing that really comes across, first of all, when they're doing their entrances, the commentators shut up, right? So when, the camera's on them and they've got all the music and the entrance, once they're coming down the ramp, actually walking down, then the commentators talk. But that first bit, which is quite a show on the entranceway, commentators don't say a word. So you've got all of this drama. There's other people that are there. They make a big deal of that first part of the entrance. The next part is just walking down to the ring, right? Doesn't really matter about that bit. But the first part where it's all big and dramatic, commentators shut up. And it's really impactful. So all of a sudden, okay, now we're going over to Omega. And then all of a sudden, it starts playing and everything. And it's all this big production. And you just get lost in it. And it's fantastic, right? It's different to what you would see in AEW or what you would see in WWE. It feels bigger. Like that first part of the entrances, they just feel bigger. And really, really cool. Then as they're, coming down to the ring, everything they seem to do seems like you can really hear when they land on the mat, right? So it seems like the microphone in the ring is louder or something, or maybe the ring is made from slightly different materials or whatever it might be, because when they slam them down, you can really hear the impact of that. You can hear the chops more, and you can hear it to the point where you can feel it. Everything sounds and feels and looks a lot more intense when you're watching Wrestle Kingdom than it does compared to watching other shows, in my opinion. It's a different style. It's a different presentation. It works for them. I mean, I thought Wrestle Kingdom was fantastic, but it wasn't a perfect show. I would say that, the first part of it, you sort of watch, and I don't want to say you drift your way through it, but you sort of watch it and it's good. But once you get to the main event matches, I mean, it doesn't go up a level. It goes up about 20 levels. All of a sudden, to me, it feels like a different show. Like you kind of, you bounce along and you watch the matches, and the drama of it is, so-so. But once you get to the main event matches, and I suppose it's like most things, everything gets bigger once you get to the main event. But, man, as soon as we got to that Omega match, as soon as we got to the Omega Ospreay match, it just felt so big. It just felt like you was really watching something significant. And that's why I wouldn't argue 5 stars. I wouldn't argue 5 stars. So if people want to say 4.25, 4.5, 4.75, even 5 stars, then I could understand it. For me, I think I can just find a few things with it that didn't just sit quite right, but it's nitpicky. It's really, I'll be the first to admit it's nitpicky. I'm nitpicking. I fully expect Meltzer to give it 5 stars. He actually said the expectations for that match, I saw what he said on Twitter. He said the expectations for that match were really, really high, and they've just exceeded them. That's what Meltzer said. And I think Sean Ross Sapp said these two aren't going to get stars. They're going to get constellations because of how impressed Sean Ross Sapp was. And I must admit, I was sat there, and my debate has been, is that a 4.75 or a 5? And I wouldn't argue a 5. I think it was brilliant. Brenton, thoughts on the new AEW set? It's on Twitter. It's neat, but I am going to miss babyface and heel tunnels. I'll be glad to get rid of the tunnels, to be honest. I'll be glad to get rid of the tunnels. I thought they were a good idea at first, but they've never done it for me. At first when I saw them, I liked the idea of keeping the baby faces and the heels like separate, but I don't know that they really did enough to really hammer across that they do keep these two, separate backstage. And like, when you're seeing loads of people getting attacked all the time backstage, you sort of see the tunnels then as just being a novelty thing. The tunnels to me, it's a way of AEW, I suppose in a way subconsciously saying that heels and faces are important. They are important, and we're gonna separate them, right? So we're gonna have these two tunnels, and all of our faces come down this one, all of our heels come down this one. And because they're trying to separate them, that in my mind makes me think that the backstage area, they keep all their faces in one part and they keep all their heels in the other part. And I understand that there's going to be the odd attack, but there's so many attacks that those tunnels, they just become nothing but novelty. They just become nothing but decoration. They don't actually do anything. Like they have shown themselves repeatedly not capable of keeping heels and faces separate. They've shown themselves to not be able to keep these two apart. So what's the point in the tunnels? What's the point in it? Like, there's no point in them. Like, then they don't serve a purpose. I don't even know if people, like casual fans, maybe AEW fans, but I don't even know if like the casual fans even have clicked that the heels come down one tunnel and baby faces come down another. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. It's not something that ever really gets brought up in conversation or anything along those lines. So I honestly, I thought they were a nice idea at first, but that quickly wore off for me. So I don't mind losing those. And to be honest, I haven't seen the pictures. I haven't seen what the new set looks like. So the first time I'll see it is going to be when it actually starts. I did see a video of it all getting set up, but they haven't got very far with it. So I'm just presuming it's stage. And it's going to look a bit more, I don't know, dare I say WWE. I hope it's got a ramp. That would be good. That's one thing, that I really wish WWE had. And that was a ramp. They actually come out on the floor, don't they? Everything's on the floor. And I think that's a bit of a shame. There must be a reason for it. But I think it would be nice if they came out on a platform and then came down a ramp. Like in WWE, you walk out and you're on the floor and you stay on the floor and there's no elevated platforms. There's no like stage. Like the floor is the stage. Which I would like to see that change. So I'm guessing AEW are going to have a platform and a ramp and everything. We'll see. Is that what tunnels were for? Faces and heels? I never knew that. I thought it was a weird design, said for Beach Kevin. Yeah, I don't think you're alone. It's not something that I think they ever... I think it was something that was brought up in conversation when they first started. And then I think as time went by, I think that it's just never been focused on. It's never been something that they've really utilized or highlighted on commentary or like really spoken about. Like, it's not something that I think they committed to. I think that it was a nice idea at first, though, but it's something that I don't think people will really be too worried about losing. What ungodly time did you have to watch Wrestle Kingdom? Do you know what? The ungodly time was 9 a.m. It was actually a godly time. You've got to remember that right now here in the UK, it's midnight. So by the time AEW starts, it's going to be 1 a.m. So ungodly times here are what we normally do. Wrestle Kingdom was actually a much better time for us. So it started at 8 a.m., finished at 12 midday. I watched it all, of course, and then went to bed afterwards. So it was a weird day for me. I definitely went to bed a bit later than I normally would, but nothing that uncomfortable, to be honest. Nothing that was a problem. The real problem I had was the fact that they totally caught me off guard with Mercedes Moné, because I don't know much about what's happening in New Japan. I don't watch New Japan. But I do have a respect for New Japan, and I've watched New Japan before. I've seen Wrestle Kingdom, I don't know, handful of times. I certainly have not watched it every single year. But I really was getting into it when Kenny was there and the Bucks were there and all that kind of stuff. So I probably watched it about 5-6 times. And I've watched Dominion, I've watched some of the G1s, but I would class myself as like the ultimate casual New Japan fan, right? I'm never going to claim to be like a big New Japan fan, but I do respect them. And so I didn't know much about what the matches were, but I recognized a fair few of the names. So I was a bit like, do you know what? I like the look of the main events. I obviously want to see the women's match because it was all about seeing Sasha. And there was a few other bits that I thought looked kind of interesting, but I wasn't like, oh my God, I need to watch this from the start, right? I didn't really have that feeling. So I was doing a bit of work and I thought, do you know what? I will jump in, but I'll jump in about an hour. Like they'll have Sasha right near the end, I would imagine. Because they'll want people to, not miss it and tune in and, all that kind of stuff. So I thought, right, they'll have her near the end. So just by chance, about, I don't know, half an hour into it, something like this, I was like, oh, do you know what? I might as well just put it on. There might be a problem with it or something like this. So I ended up jumping into it late during the first match. And then, boom, they went to the women's match. The second match is the women's match. And I was like, what? They're going into it now. I was completely not ready. I had not got anything like set up. And so it completely caught me off guard. And then that match only takes 5 minutes. The women's match was a 5-minute match. I don't know if something went wrong or if they just wanted to use the time. Like, I think the women's match lost time so that they could have Sasha. I think they gave the women's segment, say, I don't know, 10 minutes, 12 minutes. That's what the women can have. And that has to include Sasha. So they gave them, I don't know, 12, 15 minutes, whatever it was. Yeah, it was not long. And they had to do the match and they had to do the Sasha thing. So it meant the match was 5 minutes. So it proper caught me off guard. Hence why the video ended up going onto the main channel. If you've been joining us, I said that I did want to do a video on Sasha, but I was a bit worried about it because New Japan are notorious for like copyright strikes and claims and all this kind of stuff. And even though there's nothing wrong with that video, I know that it's it's touchy. Like with New Japan, they're nightmares at times. So my plan was to put that onto the second channel, but I was in such a rush and a panic, and I literally just had to chuck it up wherever I could chuck it. And at first it went up, it didn't have a title. Then I couldn't get it to change the title. Then I couldn't get it to change the thumbnail. I was having an absolute nightmare. So it was all going wrong. Interesting that Omega's best match since he joined AEW was against Ospreay. I do wonder if Kenny is better in New Japan with the strong style, said Chris. I think, honestly, he is so much better in New Japan. So much better. And I think that the strong style is definitely a reason for that. I also think though that we don't get the same presentation. So you don't tend, I mean, you get Tony talking and Excalibur blah 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 going all the time, right? It was so nice having, right, now let's go over to Omega, right? And then you go to Omega and then they play the video and on big screens as well. I mean, the size of this, AEW have never done a show this big as Tokyo Dome. And it felt huge, right? I mean, AEW really needs to try and get into a building of that size because it felt like WrestleMania, and it had these massive screens, massive stage, and they let them just do their entrance. And there was times where there was people dressed up that would come on stage with them. There was like big video packages. Obviously, Kenny with his entrance attire, and it is a performance. I mean, that part of it is like theater. where they're standing and they're posing and all this, and they really take their time. You know, I was watching Los Ingobernables, them doing their like entrance as well, and like it's this big performance, and you kind of like it builds the excitement. It does a fantastic job of building the excitement. You don't really get much like that in WWE. You get people coming out like Edge, just running from one side of the stage to the other, right? That's all he'll do. You know, you don't really tend to get much of a performance on the actual entrance stage. The wrestlers tend to come out, do a pose, whatever it might be, you know, Rhea Ripley stomping her leg down, or, you know, Brock putting his arms back. Like, they'll come out, they'll do a pose, like Roman holding up the belt, and then they'll make their way down to the ring. This was longer in Wrestle Kingdom. This wasn't just a pose. It felt a bigger performance. It felt like there was more going on with the entrance bit. And it was great. It was so good. I think that's just a little detail, right? But it's kind of like, even if you don't watch New Japan and you get to see this person coming out and they're surrounded by druids or something, and they've got like, you know, the mask over their head. I think Ospreay actually rose up from the ground, like, and did like this thing as well. And like, you can really get a good impression, a good vibe of as to who this person is and what they're about, just from that first thing. And then you go into the match, and as we said, I think it is a strong style of wrestling. It is a lot more intense than what we see in AEW on a weekly basis. And to be honest, you wouldn't want to do that on a weekly basis. I mean, they messed each other up. Like, they proper went to war. You can't do that every week, right? So I don't mind that we're going to watch Dynamite and it's not going to be like Wrestle Kingdom. Like, of course I don't mind, right? But when do you ever get that sort of a show from AEW? When do they give you that? When do you get that big presentation? When do you get that hard-hitting in-ring style? You know, hard-hitting in-ring style with AEW is slapping each other back and forth, right? I mean, slapping each other back and forth, and someone getting Moxley bleeding, right, at some point. It's just not the same. It's just not the same. Considering the core group of AEW came from what we saw earlier, came from New Japan, it has not translated into AEW what we saw earlier today. It's really striking when you're able to watch Wrestle Kingdom and then later in the day tune into AEW. And I know it's unfair. I know comparing one of the biggest wrestling shows of the year inside the Tokyo Dome to a Dynamite is super unfair. But I would quite happily put an Double or Nothing on tonight, and I would quite happily sit here and say the exact same thing. Like, when do we get that? When do we get that Wrestle Kingdom experience with AEW? And I know they're different brands, and I know that they're booked by different people, and I'm sure they're even catering to slightly different markets, you know, the Japanese and the American markets. But this is what made Kenny Kenny. This is what made the Young Bucks the Young Bucks. This is what got 10,000 people to buy tickets to go to All In, right? Because they love these guys and what they did in New Japan. And I just don't think we're getting that in AEW at the moment. Not even at the big shows. Not even once in a blue moon. So if I was Tony, I would look at Wrestle Kingdom earlier today, and it would open my eyes. To be honest, it would really open my eyes. I would really be looking at that and thinking, we're nowhere near that. We're nowhere near that. I'm not saying that what AEW is doing is bad or wrong, but when do you give the fans that experience? When do they get that? I understand you got to build towards it. We're comparing a company that's been around for 3 years to a company that's been around for 50, right? So I totally understand that there's a difference there, but man, it was so good. It was so good. Wrestle Kingdom was so worth watching. And I find myself saying that every year. Every year, every year you watch Wrestle Kingdom and you come away going, pretty sure that's going to be match of the year. Every year you watch it and go, yeah, I think that's going to be match of the year. I feel that way about Omega and Ospreay. I feel like there's a really good chance that's going to be match of the year. And I just don't know that AEW can kind of match that. Big Time Back said, Dave Meltzer claims the only way AEW can fill a stadium in the UK is at Craven Cottage. They've never been able to find a US market that sold over 20,000. Grand Slam was their biggest at 19. Yeah, I mean, I think they need to book the show, build the show, and go for it. I mean, I don't know. It's easy for me to sit here and say that, but we know that Tony's got money, right? Money's not an issue. And he can go and buy wrestlers, right? So why can't he put his hand in his pocket and book a 30,000, 40,000 stadium, right? Book it and build and see what he can do. Go for it, right? That's what Vince did. Vince put on WrestleMania. Now, granted, he put it on at Madison Square Garden, like 20-odd thousand, but ticket prices, I think, were much steeper than normal. So selling those 20,000 tickets was a challenge. But with Tony, he could do 40, like try and get 40,000. You might not get there. You might get 32, right? You might get 29,000. But see where you are. Go for it. Go big. And see what you can do. And you know what? If there's going to be a load of people laughing, saying, oh, they had a 40,000 stadium, they only sold 28,000 tickets. Okay, well, look, Tony takes a bit of a financial hit. He can take a hit. He's took plenty of hits with AEW, right? There's been plenty of things that he's spent money on with AEW that haven't come off. But, like, build it, book it, go for it, like, put this big show on and like, see what you can do. I mean, you've got Omega, you've got the Bucks, you've got some sort of relationship with New Japan. And now, obviously, you need to make sure, I'm not saying Forbidden Door is going to bring in 40,000 people, but if you could get Okada for a match, if you used to book Omega versus Okada and put that as, like, you know, your main event for this, you know, show, whatever it's called, and then you could do, you know, FTR against the Young Bucks. You know, you could book a hell of a card. You could book a hell of a card and see what it does. Because there is no Wrestle Kingdom in the AEW calendar. There is no WrestleMania in the AEW calendar. And that's got to change at some point. That's got to change. There are no stadium shows, and I really loved the idea of doing Arthur Ashe. I thought Arthur Ashe was a really good idea because that is a stadium. It's got a stadium feel, and it's only 20,000. I say only, but they did it. What was it, 19,000 or whatever? I mean, they did it, right? And with bigger builds and maybe a stronger cards and maybe some New Japan, like Okada coming onto it, maybe Ospreay coming onto it, Tanahashi, who knows? And who knows about Mercedes Moné as well and what could happen there. So, like, you look at it and you go, hey, go for it. Go for it. At what point are they going to go for it? I mean, they might. Who knows where they're going to be in 2 years' time? Who knows if they're still here in 2 years' time? Who knows what's going to happen with the next TV deal? I just think that you look at Wrestle Kingdom, and it's so big and it's so enjoyable, and they could so do it. AEW have got the ingredients to do that kind of a show. They know how to do it. They can see it. They can actually watch it being done in Japan. They can see WWE doing it on a regular basis in North America, but they never seem to go for it. I mean, Arthur Ashe is the biggest they've gone for, and I thought it was a great move, and I applaud them for it. But when do you take the next step? And the next step for me would be a 30,000 step. I'm not saying 70 or 80,000. Like, you're not going to do that, are you? Of course you're not. But like, when's the next step coming? Right? When's the next step coming? I don't know how far away it will be, to be honest. But I don't know how many were in the Tokyo Dome, actually. I don't know if I saw the attendance. Was it about 60? I don't know that you would get it. I mean, it's going to take a long time to get there. But I'd love to see them take that next step. It'll be a shame, I think, if this year they only do another 20,000, you know? I think that would be a shame. But I'm not the one that has to look after the budget. I don't see the numbers. Maybe the numbers are, okay, we could do a 30,000 show, but I'm going to lose $1 million by doing it. And, you know, all of a sudden then you go, okay, I can see that would really suck, losing $1 million when you don't have to. You're just basically throwing $1 million away. I can understand that, you know, you not wanting to do that. Especially when you've had to spend so much, apparently, on the video game, right? This is my point. Like, it's not as if he's not throwing money away as it is. So why not roll the dice, take a chance, give it a go? People are going to drag you over it on Twitter. Who cares? Who cares? But I was so impressed with Wrestle Kingdom. I would love to see that from AEW. I mean, we're never going to get there with WWE, are we? WWE are never going to give you a Wrestle Kingdom show. They might give you the performance on the entrance stage, but they're never going to give you the hard-hitting action that you saw in the ring. It's too violent for them. It's too intense. It's what I love about it is it's not even death matches. It's not even barbaric. It's just right. It's just right. It's two people battling to get a victory and doing it within a rule set. They're not getting barbed wire. They're not cutting each other to shreds with razor blades and all this kind of nonsense, right? Which just isn't for me. It's two people battling to show that they are the best at professional wrestling. And the level of intensity that you would expect, the level of intensity that you would see in, say, UFC, it's right there in New Japan. It was right there at Wrestle Kingdom, and it was very enjoyable. It was very enjoyable. So I really enjoyed it. It wasn't a perfect show. I just wish there was a way that we could get that over in North America. WWE show is made for kids. They will stay that way. It's more profitable. Eric, shout out to you, said, my modem cat crashed and it hurts inside. Dun, 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 da, 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 da. Eric, shout out to you, buds. I didn't get any notifications again, which sucks. Brad said, I made my first video. You inspired me to do it. Thank you. Shout out to you, buds. I hope it went well. Hope you enjoyed it. You've always got to enjoy the process. Jason, shout out to you, my friend. I hope you are well. Shout out to you. I don't know if I saw Matt's. Matt, if you are around, it won't let me go back that far. But Matt, feel free to put in what you said. I'll keep an eye out, Matt. I'm keeping an eye out. Was I the only one that noticed Mercedes DDT messed up? I don't know if it was mistimed or if Mercedes didn't realise Kyrie was that light. Kyrie landed face first before Mercedes started down. Yeah, it was a little bit botched. I think it was a shame that it didn't go smoothly. It wasn't anything too horrific. I've seen the criticisms online of people saying, like, oh, she only had one move to do and she botched it. I think, though, it's really different to watch it live. I was thinking about this after, because I knew we'd end up talking about Mercedes, and rightfully so. But I think when you're watching it and the lights go out and you're in the moment, and I feel like you get a bit lost in it. I found myself really getting lost in it because it's like, you know, you're watching something significant. You know it's something special. You know that it's something really exciting and the world is watching it. I mean, everyone was interested in Sasha going into New Japan, right? And if you'd have told people last year, you spoke to people in May last year and said, right, Sasha's about to walk out. You're not going to see her for the rest of the year. She's then going to be at Wrestle Kingdom. People would have laughed at you. I would have laughed at you. I would have laughed at you, right? I would have been like, what are you on about? Like, her walking out, I can totally see that. But her going to Wrestle Kingdom, just you wouldn't have believed it. So to actually see it happening live, you kind of like, it's a bit like thingy, you know, The Office meme where he's running around, he's like, it's happening, oh my God, it's happening. It sort of felt like that. Like, you're watching it and you're like, I know that the world is watching this. The world is either asleep or they are watching this right now, wrestling fans, because this is the talk of the town. And so she comes out, she looks amazing, makes her way down to the ring. She had a bit of because she was so much taller than Kyrie, I got such a strong Jade Cargill vibe from her, you know. I think she's quite toned. I wouldn't say she's jacked, but she looks very athletic. She looks like, you know, she really looks after herself. She works out. She looks quite toned, but not jacked, not like Jade in that sense. But because Kyrie is so much smaller, and because Sasha is quite, well, seemingly tall in comparison, thin and toned and looking like a goddess, I got really, really strong Jade Cargill vibes when I was watching Sasha make her way down to the ring. And she got into the ring, and you know, she looks amazing. She takes off her robe. She looks even more amazing. Then, you know, they went to shake hands, and then she chucked her down. I think you're so invested in it, or you're watching it going, wow, this really is a moment. This is amazing. Like, I was absolutely loving it. When she grabs her and double underhooks, like, the arms, I was watching, and I was like, okay, this feels like a big moment, because what's her move going to be? What is this? What are they going to call it? What's it actually going to look like? And when she did it, it was a bit botched. And I remember thinking, no, that didn't do it for me. It wasn't a case that I was watching it and laughing at her going, oh, she's messed it up. She's botched it. Like, I wasn't in that mindset. The mindset I was in was more interested in, what is this move going to be? What is this move? What's it going to look like? And she double underhooks the arms and then chucks her over to the side. And as she, like, kind of chucks her over, it all like gets a bit, like, messed up. And it didn't look very good. It wasn't executed very well. You can tell that it hadn't gone, like, according to plan. And I remember just looking at it going, oh, no, that didn't really do it for me. That's a bit of a downer, right? But then you move on. I mean, you're on to the next thing, because then she's calling for a microphone. And so then it's like, well, okay, that's done. What's she about to say? And then I'm, like, writing down what she's saying. She drops her down. She says, congrats on making history. I know all about making history. I'm here to make some more. I'm the standard. The blueprint, which I thought was interesting, because she called herself the blueprint in WWE, the CEO of this women's division. And then she said at Battle in the Valley in San Jose, she then swore, and I didn't want to write that down, because I thought the last thing I want to do is actually put that in a video, because it might get, like, you know, community guideline strikes. You have to be so careful on YouTube. But she ended by saying you can bank on Monet. So there was so much happening with, like, is that her new finishing move? Is that her new catchphrase? Is that her new ring gear? Is that her new entrance music? Is, like, there was so much that you were, like, watching and thinking about and getting lost in the moment with. It didn't hit me like, she's botched it. Do you know what I mean? Maybe I was watching it a different way, because I knew that I wanted to do a video on it. So because I knew that I wanted to talk about it, and not only was I doing a video on it, we were going to talk about it here, I was watching it, like, really trying to get the detail, really trying to take it in, really trying to, like, you know, understand what was happening, What's the catchphrase? What's the character? You know, she came in as a heel. She acted as a heel, which you can understand why she did that. But it's interesting because it's Sasha Banks, one of the biggest, most popular female wrestlers in the world. And here she is attacking Kyrie after a match, acting all arrogant, saying you can bank on Monet and all this kind of stuff. I didn't watch it with that kind of, oh, she botched it, or you know, like that. I don't know, that kind of critical hat on. I didn't watch it that way. I just was getting the detail, getting, like, you know, the information from it, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it watching it that way. If I was to just watch it with more of a mindset of, go on then, entertain me. Like, if I was to sit there and just watch it and go, right, go on then, you're this special WWE superstar. Show me what you can do. I suppose then I can understand why people were like, what was that? Right? Because if you're not impressed with her entrance and you're not impressed with the Sasha Banks name, and she comes down to the ring and the one move she does looked awkward, I could understand you going, no thanks. I could understand it, but I personally didn't watch it that way. I was just watching it going, right, what's she doing now? What's she saying now? And getting the information down. So the wig she wore was crazy, said Jeremy. It looked great. What was your thoughts on the Mercedes gimmick? Is it a Sasha gimmick with another name? WWF and WCW had the same problem with lawsuits in the 90s. Is it the Sasha gimmick with another name? I would say there's tweaks to it. I would say that it's similar to the Sasha gimmick, yes. But I think that if you was to get taken to court, I think that you could argue that there are differences. I mean, it's hard, isn't it? Because Sasha's been a face. She's been a heel. So she's here as a heel, right? So is there a similarity to Sasha? Yes and no. Because I can find a face Sasha in WWE that didn't act the way that Mercedes Moné acted. But then I could find a heel Sasha that did act the way that Mercedes Moné acted. So it's very difficult because the Sasha character went through quite a lot of change. Like, the Sasha character in NXT was very boss. She was the boss, and she had like the knuckle duster thing that said boss, legit boss. She had the boss t-shirts. She had the shade. Do you remember the shades? I don't think she's wore them for a long time, but she had the shades where she had the plastic slits on, and she used to wear them all the time. I think she long got rid of those. She had blue hair. She had purple hair. She used to come out in a car. I remember when she faced, was it Bailey at Brooklyn? She came out in a SUV, and she had bodyguards and all of that. Like, you can definitely find times in her career where the Mercedes Moné character would fit very naturally. But you can also find times in a career where it doesn't. I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? You know, I think Sasha is based on Mercedes, the real person. And I think Mercedes Moné is based on Mercedes, the real person. And I think she is someone that loves the limelight, money, and the jewels and the fame. I mean, she is related to Snoop Dogg. So, you know, all that bling and that kind of mentality, I think it is her. And I think that Sasha is based on her. And I think that this Mercedes Moné character is based on her. And I think if you want to find similarities, you easily can. But I think that it's hard to know what else she could do, isn't it? It's hard to, I mean, if she's going to be a heel, I suppose she how could she be a heel and be something than what she is? She's all about herself. She's all about money. She's all about taking over. She's all about being the CEO. I mean, she was never the CEO in WWE, so some of the terminology is different. Bank on Monet is different. Being the CEO is different. Being, I think, the Standard. I don't remember her saying she was the Standard. I remember her saying she was the Blueprint. She never used to have that hair. Obviously, that wig. The ring gear's different. The entrance attire's different. Obviously, the theme music has to be different. But at its core, is it very similar to the Sasha Banks character, the heel one, more so the one we saw in NXT? Yes. But then, could I find a version of Sasha that's different? Yes. So it's difficult, isn't it? It's tricky. I don't know. I sort of feel like my personal feelings to Sasha, she was wrong to walk out. I said that at the time. I've said it every week since. I think she was wrong to walk out. I think WWE were wrong to talk to her the way they spoke to her, but I can't justify her walking out when she's got a contract and an obligation to, be on the show, and she's getting paid to do that, right? I've never thought that she did the right thing to walk out, but I think that you get suspended for that, you get fined for that, you get punished in some way for that, and the end result is she's never come back to WWE, and now she's left WWE, so it's done. It's done. Like, she ended up leaving WWE, and she didn't get like a pay rise for it. I think if she'd have resulted in getting like a bigger contract and all this kind of stuff, then I could understand people being a bit off with it. But I think the fact is, she walked out, she wasn't happy, and she's done with WWE. Like, that's it, right? So that's it. Like, I don't feel any ill will towards her. I wish her all the best. I hope she goes and kills it. I hope she's a big success. I don't feel any ill will towards her because it's done. It's done, isn't it? She's not in WWE anymore. So if you're not a fan of Sasha, she's gone. It's done. You don't have to watch her. You haven't got to watch New Japan. She's gone. Right? So that's it. And if you are a fan of Sasha, well, she's still wrestling. She's going to wrestle in February. I know it's not the same as her being every week in WWE, but she's still around. There's still, she's the talk of the town right now, and there's plenty to look at and watch again and get excited about, and watch her take on Kyrie in February in San Jose. I think it's February 18th. So I don't feel any ill will towards her whatsoever. I hope it's a success for her. She thanked WWE, which I thought was a nice move. I didn't sense any cynicism there. I didn't sense that she was being sarcastic or anything like this. She thanked William Regal, and I think she meant that because he helped her when she was in NXT. She thanked Triple H. She even thanked Vince because, well, she should, to be honest, because he made her who she is. And I think she knows that. But she made the point on the Stone Cold podcast saying that, there has to come a point where I stop being thankful. I am thankful. I'm very thankful for what they've done for me. But there has to come a point where I want more and I want the next level. I want to keep going, I don't want to hit a ceiling. I don't want to be like, Sasha Banks that's happy to eat burgers. Like, I want to be Sasha Banks that enjoys eating steak, and I want to get to that next level. I can understand that. And I don't know that she would have achieved it in WWE, and I think she knows that, because she's never gonna get bigger than Roman Reigns, and she's never gonna be used better than, say, Brock Lesnar or whatever. It's hard for anyone, not just women, but anyone to get to that top level, to be the face of the company, which is, I think, what Sasha wants to be. I mean, undeniably, she is the face of Stardom, and that women's division. Is she going to be the face of New Japan? I think she's going to give it a go. I don't think she'll succeed because I think to a lot of fans she will be. To a lot of people that don't watch New Japan, she will be. But if you watch New Japan, she ain't going to be bigger than Okada, is she? She ain't going to be bigger than Okada. She ain't going to be bigger than Tanahashi. She ain't going to be bigger than Ospreay. And she ain't going to be bigger than Naito. So there's plenty of people that I think if you watch New Japan, she ain't going to get bigger than. But I think she wants to explore what's out there. And I think, she hit a ceiling in WWE. And I think that she now wants to see where she can go outside of WWE, which, if you look at Cody, is not a bad move, is it? Because Cody also hit a ceiling. And he left when he was Stardust and went to New Japan and started up in AEW and made himself bigger and has now come back. And we are expecting him now to be WWE champion this year. So is she just taking a leaf out of the Cody Rhodes book? Is that all she's doing? Maybe that's all she's doing. Do you think Naomi will come back? I really don't know. I think so. There's rumors that she might be in the Rumble. Philip said, what do you want more of from AEW this year? Oh, man, there's so much. I want them to give me better long-term stories. I want them to give me better in-ring matches as well, right? Which... the problem I've got is that I'm not a fan of the Young Bucks, Lucha Brothers style of wrestling, right? The loads of moves, no selling, nothing has an effect, that kind of stuff. I feel like, and I'm not just saying this because I know so many people say this, but it is true for me. I'm not just saying it. It is true. I feel like I'm at times watching a performance rather than a wrestling match. I feel like I'm watching people going through a routine rather than, are these two really going for it? Like, maybe what their matches miss is an intensity. Perhaps if there was like some hard-hitting stuff in there as well, that I could see they're really trying to get the victory here. And they're really throwing it into each other. I mean, some of the working shots can look really poor. Some of the action, it just looks quite soft. When you watch some of the women, and I say it a lot, you look at like Anna Jay, she goes against the ropes, and it's like, bounces off the ropes, just doesn't even want to, she's worried that she might, I don't know, offend the ropes. Like, you want to see people going into the ropes and coming out and really throwing in lariats and forearms, and you want to see contests. I love Eddie Kingston, brilliant. Love Eddie Kingston. Jon Moxley you would think would be more to my taste, actually, but I never seem to find like really great Jon Moxley matches. He does have the intensity, which I really appreciate, but I can't sit here and list a load of like 4 or 5-star Jon Moxley matches that like really grab my attention. So I feel like there's just loads of little things. I mean, I would love to see the style of wrestling a little bit more like what we saw earlier from Wrestle Kingdom. We've already touched on that. I'd love to see the presentation like just improve a bit, and maybe we will tonight with like the new graphics and everything. But, I'd love to see some better long-term storytelling. I'd love to see them try and put on a bigger show. I'd love to see like a WrestleMania-type show for them, which I know at this stage would be 30,000, maybe like a football stadium, right? Craven Cottage type thing. But like try and do that in America as well. Because as I said, go for it. Go for it. You can do 20,000. So try for the 30,000. I understand people will be like, yeah, that was 20,000 with CM Punk, right? I get it. I understand. But could you get Mercedes Moné? Because what would she do for you if you could? And, what other opportunities are there? Can you get Okada? not New Japan, right? I'm not interested in getting Aussie Open and all these people, right? But could you get just Okada? What would you be able to do that deal, right? We don't need all these other people that people haven't heard of, right? We just need to get the big names that even like there's a chance some of the casuals might have heard of. There's a chance some of the casuals might have heard of Okada, right? So go and get Okada and go and get Mercedes Moné and stack this card and build it and put like, some great building, great stories, really get the message out there, make the tickets affordable, 30-odd thousand, big stage. Let's go for it. It's 2023. I feel like, and I've said this a few times, it feels like wrestling has been in a slumber since the pandemic. It really felt like the pandemic, everything got shut down. And in 2021, we saw little glimpses of it coming back to life. But in all fairness, we were still in lockdowns in 2021, right? There was times where we were going back into lockdowns and there was still tons of disruption. 2022 is the first proper year where we've been able to actually do anything and get anywhere. And I feel like WWE did because I think the Vince thing forced them to. I think the Vince situation forced them to wake up and go for stuff that maybe they wouldn't have gone for. I mean, we did the show in the UK, for example, which ain't done that since 92. So definitely I feel like WWE did some stuff in 2022. I feel they can do more. And maybe they will now that we go into 2023. With AEW, I'd be hard-pressed to tell you what they did in 2022 that was really, different. Forbidden Door would be top of the list for me. Forbidden Door would be the thing that I would go, that's what they did. That's what, that's the thing we should applaud. And we should applaud it, but I thought some of the build was rubbish because I think a lot of the crowds don't know the New Japan stars. So they needed to do a much better job of introducing them than what they did. And I think that show was good, very good. But and I think it should be applauded for what they managed to achieve just from a logistic point of view of actually getting the relationship with New Japan and bringing the stars over and don't forget they had to deal with tons of injuries at that time as well. And I remember at the end of it saying, I feel like this show would have been amazing if they hadn't have had the injuries that they had. Because I think there was no Omega, and I think there was no Adam Cole, and I think there was no Bryan Danielson. And I think there was a list of people that were missing. And so what does a Forbidden Door in 2023 look like? So this is what I want from AEW. I want them to show me some stuff, build on what they've already achieved, and show me some stuff I've not seen before, and maybe take some lessons away from Wrestle Kingdom, because I think there are things that they can take away from Wrestle Kingdom. It was a very good show. But there was a lot of unforeseen injuries at Forbidden Door, said Jilly. It's true. It is true. I give them a lot of praise for achieving Forbidden Door, but could it have been better? Not their fault, but could it have been even better than what we got? I would have to say yes. I think it could have been better. And I'm not saying that, again, let's be crystal. I'm not saying that as if Tony Khan botched it, he messed it all up. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that injuries, first time of doing it, bit of the builds, fans not quite knowing who these stars are. All of that will be better the next time. I would have to think the injuries won't be as bad. I'd have to think that fans will be a bit more familiar as to who these people are now. I've got to think that if Ospreay shows up on AEW, I've got to think he's going to be treated as a much bigger star than he felt the last time we saw him. Because now these people have seen him a few times. They might even have just watched Wrestle Kingdom. And if anyone has just watched Wrestle Kingdom and it was their first time of watching Wrestle Kingdom, I think you will have come out of it going, whoa, wow. I can only imagine you as impressed. can't imagine people would have watched Wrestle Kingdom and thought it was rubbish. Certainly not the Ospreay Okada match. I mean, it was so good. Right, here we go then. We are going over to the show. Let's go. Razor Ramon shirt. Is this a nice stage? I like the stage. I really like the stage. Big screen. Yeah, much better. Much better. I really like it. Yeah, I mean, look, we've literally just spoken about making that first thing feel bigger. This feels bigger. More screens, more visuals. That's better. Here's Jericho making his way down. I've got a picture. What I'll do is I'll send it over here, and then I'll put it up on screen for you. For those that are at work and doing whatever. I do wish that Judas would go away, though. Right, let's go down here. Oh, bless me. Right. Let me find this image. I'll tell you what, there's a lot of smiley faces, a lot of happy people in the crowd today. Crowd's always electric, though, innit, when it comes to AEW. Well, I say that. Maybe not always, but more often than not. Certainly a lot better than what we got on flipping Raw on Monday. Which was not good. If you was part of that crowd, shame on you. Shame on you. You should be absolutely ashamed. Here is the entrance date. Ricky, look at this. What? Ricky Stark's coming out. Oh, I thought that was a little performance that he did. He did his little pose. There's his pose as well. Ricky Stark's making his way down. Yeah, so not the best of images, but it gives you an idea. Here's the Yoko Ono. Yoko Ono, Chris Jericho making his way down. You can see the stage behind. There's no tunnels behind. Now you've got this. I think I would have liked the side screens to have gone to the floor and to have gone to the top, but it looks good when you see it like face on. It works when you look at it face on. But yeah, I think I probably would have had those screens go down to the floor. There's not really a reason as to why they don't. But it looks bigger and I like it. I like it. I wonder why, and it's probably a cost thing, but, you know, I mean, I don't think, when it comes to this, I don't think you should skimp, really. But I wonder why this thing isn't just, like, one big curved screen, you know, like the two side panels and the panel at the back that's all gold. I wonder why that's not just, like, one big curved kind of screen connected from the top to the bottom. That would have looked really nice. But probably crazy money, but who knows? He's got it. Tony's got it. Old money bags Khan. I bet AEW fans are going to drool over the LED boards, but hate WWE's LED boards. Maybe. I don't know. I don't worry about that. Screw that war thing. It sucks. Sucks. I mean, I love WWE. WWE are the market leaders, right? And I think that AEW offer up an alternative. I think that there's no problems with watching AEW and WWE. Where the problems come in is that the online wrestling community makes you, if you really read the comments, it sort of forces you to choose. Like, and in all fairness, I do blame AEW for this because they constantly on their show keep firing shots at WWE. And I'm certainly not saying WWE are innocent either. but they have pitched themselves and presented themselves as the anti-WWE. And they've tried to pick up those disillusioned fans that have stopped watching. And that has fueled the division. That has fueled the divide. And it has made it a lot more toxic. They have added fuel to this toxic environment that we live in now, right? They can't just sit there and be like, oh, why can't we all get along, right? It's because you keep putting stuff on your show that like lays into WWE. It'd be easy for them to praise WWE. It'd be perfectly easy for them to, Jericho could be very respectful about his time in WWE and all this kind of stuff. Instead, they're always firing little shots. They present themselves as sports entertainers, Jericho's group, and then you've got real wrestlers competing against them. I'm not a sports entertainer, I'm a real wrestler, and even that's a little dig. So I sort of feel like, it's a real shame. It's a real shame that like that's the road that they went down. But for me personally, I think there's stuff that AEW does well. And as I said, if I didn't, I wouldn't watch it every Wednesday. I think they do some good stuff, but I'm not a fan of the war, if you will. I'll quite happily criticize both shows. I'll quite happily sit here and moan about Raw and about Dynamite if I think that there's things on either show that sucks. Just like the crowd sucked on Monday for Raw. And I'm sure we'll find stuff that sucks tonight. But I'm sure we'll find good stuff as well as like this crowd, which are red hot. Chop coming in by Starks. Kick coming in by Starks. Kick to the midsection. Another chop coming in. Against the ropes goes Starks. Crowd making some noises. Jericho clotheslines Ricky to the outsides. Jericho in black. Starks in white. Forearm strike. Down goes Jericho. Jericho goes down. Danielson didn't take shots, nor did Regal, says James. Yeah, that's good. In all fairness, like Regal is, I think, I find it so much classier. I find it so much, it's so better. So it's not even real good English, that is it? It's so better. I find it's more respectful and classier when they don't take shots. And look, it's allowed William Regal to go back. I mean, if William Regal had been laying into them and everything, who knows if he might have burnt some bridges. But he's got a great relationship with Triple H. He's like, there was no hard feelings. I think when he lost his job, he said he understood. So there was no hard feelings or anything. But yeah, he didn't take any shots, and I don't think that hurt him in AEW. The AEW fans loved him, even though he wasn't ripping into WWE. And, WWE have now welcomed him back. And Danielson as well, Danielson being very respectful. And I just think that he comes quite, like, AEW fans love him. And WWE fans still love him as well. CM Punk, who just doesn't like WWE, he was saying how, like, he hadn't been in wrestling since his Ring of Honor days and all this kind of stuff. And, it was just little digs, wasn't it, all the time? In all fairness, Cody took digs. Cody smashed the throne, didn't he? Broke the throne up and everything. So he was quite happy taking digs. It's definitely something that I would like to see them move away from. It'd be nice, actually, it'd be nice if people weren't as fixated on the ratings as much as well. Because sometimes the ratings aren't reflective of quality. Like, you can have quality segments that don't perform well. It's not like the ratings are an indicator of... I mean, they're one of the best indicators we have. But they're not a perfect indicator as to what's actually good. Like, things that you enjoy and that you're entertained by might not do great ratings. I mean, it could be there's a fantastic segment that just happens to be on a show that's up against a massive football game. And so this fantastic segment doesn't perform as well as a bit of a rubbish segment a few weeks later that's not up against anything. So it's just not an indicator of quality. I mean, is AEW half as good as Raw? I mean, I don't. From a quality point of view, I don't think so. We've seen some atrocious Raws. We've seen some pretty bad Raws, and I don't think we can say that AEW is half as good as that. Yet the ratings put it there again because of different factors. So I don't know. I think it's best to watch wrestling and enjoy what you enjoy. And if you don't enjoy so much, just don't watch it. I mean, it's that simple, innit? At the end of the day, it's that simple. But that's not what people are doing. Not everyone, but like there's people out there that just love the tribalism. They want to feel like they belong to something. And if that's Team AEW, then brilliant. If it's Team WWE, brilliant. And so it gives them a bit more of an identity, maybe. Like, I am Team WWE. I am Team AEW. Forearms coming back and forth by these two. It's a good little match, this, you know. It's a good little match to open the show. Chops coming in by Jericho. They're really going for it. Against the ropes goes Starks. Clothesline. Down goes Jericho. Drop kick by Starks. Starks would do so well in New Japan. He'd do so well. Starks on his feet, getting fired up by the crowd, grabbing Jericho. Couple of shots coming in, forearms by Jericho, drives Starks over to the corner, another forearm strike. Jericho with Ricky Starks, Starks going against the ropes, kick to the midsection. He's looking to drive him down. Sit down powerbomb. Kick out by Jericho. Did you hear about Kez Evans and Grado at Square Go? No. I don't know who Kez Evans is. I didn't even know it played the music, you know. That was a lovely little blast of Kamala's music, wasn't it? I love that music, you know. I love that music. Some of my favorite entrance music ever is the Kamala music. Lovely kick by Starks. Jericho goes down. That is an alert. Mitchell, shout out to you, buds. Feel like I don't know if we're near the end of this. It seems like something has changed with the setup. You've missed a lot more super chats than usual. Yeah, well, it has. It has changed. Double knees by Jericho. It has changed. I have realized, and I don't even know if it helps, you know. I've changed the settings so that it goes into dark mode on my computer because I realized that my face looks really washed out. He's got Jericho up. Nice reversal. Starks is down. What just went flying? Was it a knee pads? Elbow pads. He's trying to turn Jericho over. Jericho's trying to turn Starks over, sorry. Starks is... he's got the walls applied. Walls are applied on Starks. Ricky Starks is trying to get over to the ropes. Trying to get over to the ropes. Jericho dragging him back into the center. Yeah, he's right in the middle of the ring right now, you know. He's trying to get over, and we're getting some distractions. Oh, he gets jabbed right in the side of the head. That's a shame. That's a shame. That's a shame. It was a really good match. Ricky Starks is out. She's going to ring the bell, surely. She's checking the arm. The old school arm thing, too. No, that arm went down. It looked like that arm did drop for the third time, but I suppose it is referee's discretion. He's powering back in. He's trying to get over to the ropes. He just got smashed in the side of the head. I tell you what, it feels like these two have gone out there and they've said, let's have the follow-up match to Okada against Switchblade. It feels like they've had that conversation where they want to go out and show people that we can follow Wrestle Kingdom to kick out. It's a really good match. It's a really good match. Kick to the midsection by Jericho. Starks over against the ropes. Starks is up. DDT. Big DDT there by Ricky Starks. Eddie Magic gets walloped. He goes down. The other one, whose name I don't know, he goes down. Starks against the ropes. Spear by Starks. Great spear, you know. 1, 2, 3, and Starks gets the win in a really great match. That is a really great match. The energy of the crowd was absolutely fantastic. The crowd were brilliant. Oh, rubbish shots. Who's this? Who's embarrassing himself? Is that Danny? Is that Garcia? Who's this? Andretti. The Jobbico. Jobbico making his way down. Andretti. Don't need this, you know. We've just seen an absolutely fantastic match, and of course it gets followed with a brawl. We don't need it, Tony. Tony, we don't need it. Anna Jay comes in. Now we've got Ty Conti in there, Anna Jay in there. Honestly, there's around about 10 people or so. I mean, all of this is taking away from the match that we just saw. We just saw this incredible match. And instead of letting that breathe, instead of letting Starks have his moment and celebrate there and then and have everyone applaud him, yeah? Instead, we've got this nonsense. I said we'd find something to moan about. I didn't realize they'd give it us so quickly. Every flipping match, Tony. New year, same Tony booking. Right, yeah, Mitchell said, seems like something's changed. You missed a few more super chats. Yeah, apologies to people that I've missed super chats with. I feel free to put them in. I'll try and get to them. Don't super chat them. Just put super chat at the start, and I'll try and get to them. But yeah, what I did was I've changed my computer setup to a dark mode, and I did that because I realized my face gets washed out because the light isn't coming from the light; it's coming from the screen. The screen's right here, and the light from the screen is what washes my face out, basically. So I've changed it to a dark mode. The problem is now I can't see the super chats. I can't see them. It doesn't highlight them anymore. And the alerts don't seem to always work either. I never seem to get alerts all the time. I need to have a look. Perhaps the settings on the alerts are wrong. I don't know. I really don't know. But I mean, I've heard the Kamala one go off, which told me about Mitchell's, but I haven't heard any others unless I've just been missing them. So I need to have a look at the alerts and get them set up a bit better. Eric, Defcon Prime and Jake Pop Culture Power Hour says paintball has become too toxic to play in USA. Paintball has become too toxic to play in the USA. Is this some breaking news that I've missed? All I can hear in my head right now is da, 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 da. That's all I've got in my head. Toxic. Eric, shout out to you. Why do people get excited about segment ratings if you're not watching time you see online what's happening and tune in the next segment, it makes more sense to claim the rating for the segment after you. Yeah, I mean, you could look at it that way. That it's an indicator. I mean, I feel that ratings are an indicator, and I get that they're important because there's only so many indicators that TV companies have to make decisions on whether they're going to renew your deal, and they're only going to it's an indicator as to what segment's done well. But as you said, if something's rubbish and people turn it off, well, you're going to have already watched that segment to have decided that it was rubbish. And so, yeah, you could be right. That is going to affect the next segment. The next segment could be fantastic, but people have already left it because the segment before was rubbish. So it's not a fine art. It's never claimed to be a fine art. And now we've got ourselves in a situation where people treat ratings as the be all and end all and gospel. And they are, this is it. You can't argue with the ratings. Don't tell me that a segment was good when it lost 100,000 viewers. Don't tell me it was good. But it was good. It was good. This is the point, it's it's an indicator, and it's one of many indicators. You could look at how things get viewed on YouTube, for example. YouTube views is another indicator that Tony could use. So someone might do really rubbish on the TV ratings for many different reasons. Could have been up against a big game. Could have been the segment before was a dumpster fire and people tuned out. There's lots of different ways that you can look at ratings and read into ratings. But, you could also look at YouTube views and see how many views certain YouTube videos get, and that would be an indicator. You could look at Google searches. You could look at merch sales. There's if you're Tony, you're not just looking at one thing. You're not just looking at TV ratings. I get that they're important. I get that that's how TV advertising is sorted and how TV companies make decisions on what shows get renewed. Totally get all of that. I understand they're important. But the argument of saying something's good or bad because of certain TV ratings is very, very flawed. It is flawed. It's not a perfect science, is it? Right. Here's Hangman. He's getting a great reaction. Hangman Page making his way down to the ring. Hasn't wrestled since suffering a concussion against Jon Moxley back in October. Still got that in my head. Cowboy shiz. So Hangman has made his way down. He's in the ring. Hangman looks so good in jeans, said Lone Star Friends. Rick Starks, love him. I hope he goes to WWE. I know it'll never happen. I would love him to get a call up for NXT. It'd be a great match. He's really good. He's someone that they've really grown, actually. When he first joined him, he joined him from NWA. And he was someone that was seen as having a lot of potential in NWA, but he was never like NWA champion. I think he might have held a mid-card title, but yeah, I mean, I could see him being AEW champion. He's really on that trajectory. Yes. Right, let's see what Hangman's got to say. He says, if I get into another fight with Jon, I'm just going to get set back another week. What I want is the same thing Jon wants. He's got a date. Oh, that's lovely. He's got a date. Probably why he's looking so sharp this evening. He's going to be cleared next week, apparently. I don't care if it's in this ring. I don't care if it's in catering. I don't care if it's on the roof. I will fight Jon Moxley. And talking of Jon Moxley, here's Mox. I tried to super chat him, but my details didn't work. Oh, don't worry about it, mate. Don't worry about it. I'm pretty rubbish at getting to them at the moment. Is AEW worth watching? Yes, 100%. That first match is a banger, man. That is a great match. That's the best TV match I've seen in 2023. Just saying. Just saying. Credit where it's due. Best TV match I've seen in 2023. We're 4 days in. Good looking set, but it reminds me of Mixed Match Challenge, said Wrestling is Art. Yeah, the color scheme of it being red and blue, I think they definitely could have gone with a different color scheme. It is going to make people think of Raw, SmackDown, or Mixed Match Challenge, as you say. I don't know if too many people will think Mixed Match Challenge. But you are right, that was red and blue. So maybe they could have gone with something different, but it's undeniably better. It's undeniably better. I didn't realize how much of a refresh they needed until I've now seen the refresh. And you go, oh, they really needed this. I'm sick of this ongoing candlelight vigil for Hangman Page. We can't hear you, Chant. I can hear you. We can't hear you, Chant, from the fans. That's frustrating. There we go. What now? Was he going to say it again? Go Seahawks. Let's get this back on track, says Moxley. That's a shame. That's not his fault. No one's been knocked down more times than me. Now you're coming out here playing the victim. Cowboy, that makes me sick. Hey, there's a great sign that said, "Where's Miro?" Where's Miro? And they've got a picture of Miro. Cartoon picture of Miro dressed in a Where's Wally costume. I'm loving that Where's Miro sign. It's very good. Moxie didn't know it was only the arena. Something always goes wrong when these two are in the ring, said Adam. Dustin Rhodes' mom sadly passed away. I did see that. Yeah, very touching photo, very personal photo of her hand and his hand. Feel for him. You didn't let me get a word in before you made a joke, says Hangman. You nearly took my career away from me. You nearly changed my life, and you want to crack a joke. Okay, so he said he's here for revenge now, Hangman. Okay. Bring back Miro. I forgot what he looks like. But knock him out, Mox, said TJB. Erase your mind, hello. Waldo wants to know where Miro is. It's a great sign. Taz said, these two want to go. You can feel it. You can see that Moxley is frustrated. He's like... Your little punk ass doesn't belong in the ring with me, says Moxley. Next week, you won't get back up. Moxley jumps out the ring then. It's all right. It was all right. Obviously, the microphone issue was a shame. Still to come tonight, we got Samoa Joe against Darby Allin. Mr. Unfamiliar said, this is awful. They should kiss. Days, do some Dynamite reviews. Can't, unfortunately. Can't because I just don't. It's so difficult because I don't follow Rampage or Dark or Elevation, and I already know that there will be stuff that I'll say about there was no build for this. Like, it really felt like they just chucked two people out there, and I already can see the comments from people going, they built it on Rampage, or they spoke about it on Being the Elite. I don't watch those shows, so they would be reviews from a very casual AEW fan. I class myself as a casual AEW fan. I only watch Dynamite. I only watch their big show. To be honest, I don't feel like I need to watch the big show. And I feel like I'm not alone in that. The majority of people only watch Dynamite. I don't think that many watch Elevation, Dark. I think Rampage still bobs around 400,000. So there's a few that watch Rampage, certainly. But that's always been the barrier for me doing AEW reviews. But doesn't change the fact that I think tonight's been... That first match is so good. That first match is so good tonight. And there is a little stage and an entrance ramp here that they've got, which I really like as well. Does feel more WWE. Bigger. Right, we've got Jay Lethal coming down to the ring. I can't remember who these are taking on. Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. Oh, the Acclaimed. Yo! Now listen. Here we go. He's going to talk about that guy that can't get into the... Can't be the speaker. That dude. I like it. TNA means total non-stop acclaimed. You messed up worse than Andrew Tate did. Andre. You know Andre Tate. You know him. Andre Tate. I thought they might have said something about that guy. I've heard it 6 times now he's tried to be speaker and it's not worked. I don't care about politics. I don't care if you're Republican. I don't care if you're Democrat. It's just funny, isn't it? 6 times they've tried to vote him in as the speaker. 6. I don't care if I don't even know what he is actually. I don't even know. So don't go throwing politics at me, right? I don't know. I don't know if he's Republican. I don't know if he's Democrat. All I know is that this guy thought he was going to be speaker. They voted 6 times and they still can't agree on it. And it's pretty funny. So, yeah, that's funny. I thought they might reference that because that's one of the big stories over here in the UK as well, you know. I only read about it on the BBC earlier. It's one of our, like, we tend to have on the BBC about 4 stories at the top that are like the big things you need to know. And that was actually one of them. Was 6 times. They tried 3 times yesterday and 3 times today. And I think, are they trying again now? Are they trying again? I don't know if I'll have a look actually. I haven't seen him. He might. If at first you don't succeed, try another 6 times. Maybe he's good. Maybe he's in there. I don't know. It was earlier that I looked. Look, it's. Can I just show you? It is live, and it is the second biggest story in the UK. So, biggest story is hold me to account on cutting NHS waiting times. That's our biggest story. And then the second biggest story is House adjourns after 6th speaker vote. So it's actually the second biggest story in the UK. It's amazing, isn't it? Something to do with American politics. Second biggest story in the UK. So I thought they might reference that, but they didn't. Right. Acclaimed in there with Lethal. And we got Jeff Jarrett on the outsides. What are your thoughts on Omega versus Ospreay? The storytelling of the finish and the DDT on the exposed turnbuckle was crazy, said Switchblade. I loved it. Yeah, I loved it. I thought the intensity was brilliant. As you say, like some of the storytelling in there, where they were like obviously going for their various moves. There's a lot of Ospreay moves that I'm not familiar with, but you get into it because the commentators get so excited that he's about to hit something. And obviously, you know when Kenny's going for the one-winged and what that would mean. And as you say, you know, the exposed turnbuckle spot was amazing. The table spot on the outside was amazing. It was great. It was great. I would not have any argument with anyone that says that was a 5-star match. If someone was to say that's 5 stars, I'd be like, yep, fine. I got no problem with that. I might be 475. I might be 475. But even I don't know. Even I might be 5 stars. I always think a 5-star match, you just know. You end the match and you go, that's 5 stars. And I did think that at the time. But there was just a couple of moments in the match where I was like, not sure it needed that. And there was just a couple of moments that I don't want to say they went too far, but I think you could have took about 5 minutes out of the match. But it's nitpicky, man. That is so nitpicky. Even I admit that's nitpicky. Even I hold my hands up and go, shut up. If you want to tell me it's 5 stars, I've got no problem with it. If Meltzer gives it 5 stars, I've got no problem with it. Meltzer will probably give it 7. But I've no problems with it being top marks. I always see 5 stars as top marks. Do you know what I mean? Like, can't get 12 out of 10, can you? If you do a test. So, right, Daddy Ass, you're out of there. Daddy Ass has been chucked away from ringsides. Na 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 na. Hey hey hey. Goodbye. Well, the last member of the Dark Order, please turn the lights off, said Eric. Miro has been missing longer from AEW than what Liz Truss was Prime Minister. Yeah. We actually did, for the first time ever, we had a family quiz. When our family came round last week, 'cause we weren't here last week. Oh, yeah, we weren't here last week. It's been a week. We weren't here last Wednesday because I had my family round. And first stream, I don't remember missing a stream before. I'm sure I have, but I can't remember it. So, yeah, it was kind of weird not being here last Wednesday. But we did a quiz, and it was 30 questions. I was the host, Natch. And one of them was, how long was Liz Truss Prime Minister for? If I remember right, it was about 42 days. I think it was about 42 days. Joking it. So I would imagine there's a lot of people that haven't been in AEW for 42 days that have been missing longer than she was our Prime Minister. Right. Young Bucks are negotiating new AEW deals, said Gordon. Would you rather Roman versus Omega or Rollins versus Ospreay? Roman Omega, definitely. I think Rollins against Ospreay might be the better match, but I wouldn't be worried about that, to be honest, because I think you're still going to get a hell of a match out of Roman and Omega, and Roman Omega would undoubtedly be bigger. That's bigger. Roman is bigger than Seth, and Omega is bigger than Ospreay. So I would say that Rollins Ospreay would be the better match, but I would rather watch the bigger match, which is Roman and Omega. It's sort of like saying, you know, if you on the one channel had Macho Man Ricky Steamboat, but on the other channel you had Hulk Hogan Andre the Giant, which one are you watching? Right? It's a tough decision, but I'm watching Hogan Andre. I mean, the only thing I would say is that now you would always watch Macho Man, because why would you want to watch Hogan Andre again when you know it's not very good and you've already seen that moment where they're face to face and you know how it goes? If you put yourself back in 1987, put yourself back in that year where you haven't seen either match, you've not watched either match, you don't know how either match is going to go, the hype around Andre Hogan would surely make you choose Andre Hogan. Whereas now that you've seen them, I think you would always choose Macho against Steamboat. If someone said I had to watch a match now, I'm watching Macho Man. Back in 87, I'm watching Hogan. And that might be similar here. I would want to watch Roman, Kenny, but going forward, the better match might be Seth and Ospreay. That was very in-depth. Now, I couldn't have made that much more in-depth. I gave you examples. I gave you historical examples. I did a great job there. If you could give 5 AEW superstars that WWE would want or need, who would they be and will they be? I feel like that's too long. That question's too long. I feel like if you want some people that could go to WWE, then I think you're probably looking at the likes of Jamie Hayter, Britt Baker, MJF, Wardlow, Ricky Starks. Like, that's a great starting point. That's a great starting point. All of those would kill it in WWE. Even the Acclaimed would do really well because they're a bit sports entertainment in their presentation, and I know that WWE are not using sports entertainment so much now. Like, they're quite happy to call the wrestlers now that Triple H is in charge. But they're still sports entertainment, aren't they? You know, they've still got the Viking Raiders. They've still got, the Nigerian giant Amos. They've still got the tribal chief and the bloodline and all this kind of stuff. So they're still doing what they've always done. And so, a colourful team that's as fun and vibrant as the Acclaimed, I think they would fit in very well in WWE. WWE struggle with the Charlie Dempsey, Timothy Thatcher, Drew Gulak, those types. Those types that I think would do well in New Japan struggle in WWE. In WWE, you've got to be a bit more colourful, cartoony. Dare I say charismatic. To shoulder up by the Acclaimed. Now we've got Jay Lethal on Bowen. Figure 4 leg lock. Figure 4 leg lock applied. We've had 45 minutes of the show. Into the ring steps goes Caster. Satnam Singh. WWE struggle with dead weight. Who's Who's coming down? Satnam Singh being told to go. He's sticking up middle fingers there. We got referees coming down. Referees coming down, trying to tell Satnam Singh to go. About 5 or 6 referees out there. This means that Bowen's in the ring on his own. Bowen's getting up to his feet. Jay Lethal goes against the ropes. Forearm to the back of the head. Jeff Jarrett coming over. Didn't look great. Here's a ref. 1, 2, foot on the rope. Oh, did he not see it? Won the tag titles that way. Oh, that's horrible. That's horrible. That's a horrible, messy way for them to win the tag. I just thought they'd won the match. I didn't realize the tag titles were up for grabs. Aubrey Edwards is getting in. Are they just going to restart? They should restart it. It's a fiasco. So, Bowen had his foot on the ropes. Can't remember his name. Knocked it off. Ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so the match is going to continue. I do feel like there's just too much chaos. It doesn't need to be so much chaos. Maybe this would hit a bit harder if we hadn't have had the big flipping brawl we had at the end of the first match. Now he's trying to use the ropes again. Roll up by Bowen. 2, 3, and Bowen gets the win. Acclaimed to retain. Messy. That's messy. Mental. That was weird. Yeah, it's just chaos. It's just too messy. Fantastic first match. Should have just been allowed to have breathed after. We should have just had Ricky Starks enjoying his moment. But because we got that big brawl, like, you know, he doesn't get that moment. Then we get all this carnage. It's just like every match has got some sort of chaos or carnage connected to it. I really wish Tony Khan would get rid of that stuff. Just get rid of it. Don't need it. Here's Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker. So the bottom line is the match restarted. Bowen gets a roll-up pin and Acclaimed to retain. Here's Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker. We're AEW originals. Saraya will never be that. We've worked our way up to the top of the women's division. Me and Jamie are very similar. It took us a while to find our feet. Shida and Toni Storm are fantastic professional wrestlers. Didn't expect her to put them over, but she did. Jamie's the champion. I'm the boss. She's the killer. I'm the pillar. Oh, that's what their shirts say. Okay. Their shirts, I was trying to see what their shirt said, but the hair and the belt was covering. I think it says the killer and the pillar. The killer and the pillar. I mean, it sounds weird, but I get it. You know, Brit's, one of the 4 pillars of AEW, and Jamie Hayter's a killer, apparently. That'll be interesting to the police. They'll be very interested in that news. Mitchell. I was trying to look at the DVDs I had on my shelf there. I feel like there was a box set, which I haven't seen in a long time. I just saw, and I was like, oh, I forgot that box set. I need to look at that clip again, I reckon I've just seen a box set that I didn't even know I owned. Hang on, Mitchell. I am going to get to your comment, buds. Let me just have a look. What was it? Was that Pedro Almodovar? Is that how you say his name? Pedro Almodovar collection, yeah? I've just seen a box set which I sort of remember owning now. And I have not seen it for years, and I've not sold it or anything, so I can only imagine that it's in storage. What films do you get in that? Bad Education, All About My Mother, Talk to Her, Live Flesh. Sounds kinky, doesn't it? I can't even read that one. I sort of remember getting this. I've heard that his films are meant to be very good, and the collection was actually quite cheap, so I picked it up. But I never actually got around to watching any of them. And I don't even know where that box set is now. Pedro Almodovar. Don't know. I've never seen his films. I would like to, and I can. Didn't even realize I owned the flipping box set. Right, that was super overbooked, and now we're on to the next segment. The show is basically the movie Speed, but in wrestling format. What's so frustrating is you watch the show, and there is really good stuff on this show. There is really good stuff. But every segment, you can pretty much find something that you would change. So, like, the first match is the best match I've seen on TV, right? I know jokingly saying 2023 doesn't mean anything, but I would say in a long time. I really, really enjoyed the opening match tonight. But then you get the brawl afterwards, which didn't need, right? Then you go to the second segment. I didn't think it was the strongest promo thing, but the microphone thing really threw him off at the start. It's distracting, I'm frustrating, whatever. I always think like two people that want to fight and get their hands on each other, but they can't, and having to hold each other back. I think it always looks a bit awkward. Watching Moxley like wanting to get at Hangman but not being able to, it just looks a bit awkward. Like I'd much rather he said what he had to say, chuck the microphone at him, and walk out the ring. So a couple of bits there that you would change. And then in that match, just, you don't need all that stuff, do you, at the end? So you would tweak that as well. But underneath all of those little things that you would tweak and change, there is a really damn good show here. There is a really good show. And now we're moving on to Danielson. Here's the American Dragon. Love to see him at Wrestle Kingdom. I'm surprised that he didn't get at Wrestle Kingdom. You would think with AEW's relationship with New Japan, you'd think they would want the American Dragon. He wants a match with Zack Sabre Jr. as well. So how have they not been able to get that sorted? How did we not get Danielson against Zack Sabre Jr. at Wrestle Kingdom? How did we not get that? He specifically said when he left WWE that he wanted that match. Here's Danielson then. So it's going to be Danielson against CM Punk. He looks a bit like CM Punk. It's Tony Nese. Right. Bang. Give me Danielson against Zack Sabre Jr. Yeah, how did that not happen? I didn't even think about it earlier, but he said he wanted the match with Zack Sabre Jr. when he left. And he's not injured. And why would New Japan not want him? Crowd going crazy, yes in a way. Josh Woods on the outside grabbing the boot of Danielson. Over the top rope goes Tony Nese. Nese up over moonsault. Nese lands on his feet, goes against the ropes. Big knee strike. 1, 2. Kick out by Danielson. Kick out by Danielson. Tony Nese going over. Big. Oh my God, those shots look so bad. Oh, they look so bad. Those shots from Tony Nese are pathetic. What are they chanting? Let's go, Bryan. Those shots by Tony Nese, he was throwing them in like this. You could see that they were falling short. And Danielson was not even selling them. There was no selling of the shots. That camera was way too close. Way too close. Oh, come on, Danielson. Crowd are red hot for him, though. Yeah, look, he's proper feeding off of them. Lovely camera shots as well. We got to say, these swooping camera shots where you're seeing more of the crowds and you're kind of like swooping over the crowds and you get a bigger impression of just how big this show is. Great. They need to change the logos on the ring apron and on the barricades, though, because they're still the old logos. Goes for a kick. 1, 2. Nese picks him up. Hurls Danielson into the corner. Exposing the knee. Nese goes against the ropes. Oh, Danielson moves out the way. Danielson in the middle of the ring. Tony Nese over against the turnbuckles. Nese hobbling around. Knee strike by Danielson. Turns Tony Nese inside out. Hits like a girl. I don't think Daze knows they're in Bryan's hometown. They're loving him, man. Red hot. AEW Fight Forever coming to your favorite console in 2025. Can't be far. It's this year, isn't it? I mean, it must be first quarter. I don't think it can be that far away. Problem is, the whole flipping game's not going to feel like the flipping show anymore, is it? It's one thing to have a wrestler come and go. It's another thing to completely change the entrance stage and everything. Do you want a real AEW video game experience? Well, don't bother getting Fight Forever because it's nothing like this show anymore. Danielson with a submission hold and he gets the win. Hollywood Guy, shout out to you. Said, do you think Miro appears in the Rumble? Don't think so. I don't think he's still under contract, isn't he? I haven't heard that his AEW contract has expired. So I'm not expecting him to be in the Rumble. Not expecting it. I actually don't know when his contract expires. That's the best thing ever! Titus brilliant! Titus trips and goes under the ring! World slide! Oh, wow! They are going to show that for years. They are going to show that for years. Titus world slide. Oh, he just called someone out, but I was watching Titus world slide. Is he calling out MJF? Is he calling out Umjuff? Yeah, he has, you know. He's called out Umjuff. MJF coming out. Tinker, 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 tinker. Cut my music. Here's MJF then. Booze for Maxwell. Not that he cares. Brain damage, Bryan. You want me to come into that ring and wrestle you? How about no? I don't care about these schmucks. You're a mark. I get that check in the mail whether I wrestle or I don't. I'm a special attraction. These people love you. They chant your name each week. I'll give you credit. You're pretty solid. You're pretty solid in the ring. Yeah, you're pretty solid. You're pretty good. If Lance Storm and Dean Malenko were able to have a child, it would still be more charismatic than you. Talking about Mama Danielson couldn't find a human suitor. I like that we're making jokes because all the boys in the back talk about your mother and how many human suitors she's had. There's not enough of your mum jokes in wrestling. She might have had some human suitors that are in this arena right now. There's people going, oh man, I effed MJF's mom. Pretty sure you're going to be seeing them signs. You're delusional. You really think you're a big deal? I'm curious, Bryan. Who died and made you the king of wrestling? He's so good, isn't he? He's so good. Edward, shout out to you. Can you check your email? It's on something that I can't say on stream. Yeah. Hashtag bring back your mom jokes 2023, said Mustafa. A whole chants by the crowds. Disco Inferno, what's he meant? Eric Bischoff. My number one fan. Jim Cornette gets a mention. My number one fan, Jim Cornette. Shut up, says Danielson. Shut up. Disco Inferno, Eric Bischoff, and my number one fan, Jim Cornette. Yeah, he hit a mum joke. I hate you. I hate you. And it's time for us to fight. So Danielson was about to step out the ring. MJF's like, slow your roll, dragon. I came here as a favor for you. I'm trying to smarten you up, kids. This isn't play wrestling, it's pro wrestling. In this company, wins and losses matter. Shut the F up, chance. I spoke to that nerd, Tony Khan, in the back. If you wrestle every week and win, then you'll be number one contender. I'll give you a match at Revolution if you win every week until February 8th on Dynamite. No? Good? Yeah? Go and have a word with Tony yourself. Yeah. Tony doesn't run this company. The EVPs don't run this company. I run this company, says MJF. My way or no way, says MJF. Danielson's just laughing. Mark Sterling's a horrible lawyer. Don't like this stipulation. Okay, that's better. That's better. I'll do your stipulation, but if I do it, you've got to let me choose the stipulation for our match. So not only does he get the match, he gets to choose the stipulation for it. That's better. That's better. That's better. Pick any stipulation you want. What is it? Iron Man. Iron Man? Iron Man. He said this is the test as to whether you are a real professional wrestler. A 1 hour Iron Man match. Yeah, fair play, man. That's actually really good. It's really good because Maxi Pad. Danielson holding his own here verbally against MJF. Holding his own. Seen loads of people get blown away by MJF, but Danielson doing a really good job of holding his own. All you do is choke when you've got a big match opportunity. Sure, that's true. WrestleMania 30 was pretty big. Danielson said, okay, well, we'll see. I mean, look, is it a cheap way of getting a Danielson match every week for the next month? Yes. Have they done the best job they could do to explain why we're doing it? Yeah, in all fairness, I think they have. Danielson doesn't just get the opportunity to wrestle. He gets an 1 hour Iron Man match out of it as well. So, fair play. I'm going to expose that you have not got the cardio. You have not got the footwork. I'm going to show that you're not just a special attraction because you don't care about wrestling. It's because you're not good enough to come out here every single week. I'm going to kick your damn head in. Really good by Danielson, you know. Really good. Both guys having really good. That's really good. Really good. What do you think about KSI Faye's temper on January 14th? What happened to Dylan Dennis? I didn't even know it was changing. It was obvious Dennis was going to back out. He was only in it for attention. I didn't even know it changed. I mean, I'm doing the fight. We're going to do it. We are watching that fight, but I had no idea that had changed. I thought it was still Dylan Dennis. Bryan is horrible on the mic. Oh, I have to disagree. I just thought he did a really good job there. He projected well. He spoke with confidence. He had some good lines. The mother comeback stuff I thought was fun. The fact that MJF, when MJF turned around and said, if you want a shot at this title, you're going to have to beat me every single week. My reaction to that was, why? Why can't Danielson just go backstage and say to Tony, put me in a fatal four-way, put me in a battle royal, give me a way of, like, I ain't wrestling every single week. Like, why should I have to jump through all those hoops to get a title shot? Why is it that MJF is calling these shots? Like, just book a number one contenders match. You know, Elimination Chamber or Battle Royal or six-pack challenge or whatever you want, but put me in a number one contenders match. Like, Danielson could have that conversation. He shouldn't have to wrestle and win a match every single week for a month just because MJF says so. So, had he have not been able to have come back with something there, I would have felt that was a bit weak. But I love the fact he said, all right, I can play your game. If I'll do your stipulation, if you'll do mine. MJF agreed to it, and he said, okay, well, my stipulation is a 1 hour Iron Man match. And then he explained why. I'm going to check your cardio. I'm going to prove you can't wrestle. You know, even if he cheats and he gets a pinfall victory, there's plenty of time for Danielson to use his wrestling to even up the score. Obviously, you know, there's probably going to be ways that MJF can cheat a few times. And there may be people that come down and help him. And I would imagine it's going to be quite close. And then he'll cheat at the end to still win it. But it does give Danielson a great opportunity to use his wrestling. If he is the better wrestler, then he's got an hour to try and get as many pinfalls as possible. And to try and get the victory. It does make sense. It does make sense as to why he would choose that. I really like it. I really like that segment. I didn't think that either guy sucked on the microphone then. I thought both had good moments. MJF talks, you know, his projection is so good and he talks with such confidence and, you know, he commands, he's in control. Like, he's very commanding. It was good seeing Danielson fire back with some stuff. I was very impressed. I was impressed. Alex said KSI hopefully should be fighting Joe Fournier in May if he beats FaZe Templar, but Templar is very good and it's going to be a tough challenge. We're back from commercial, said Legend Killer. Danielson is currently the best in the world. There's no arguments. You can't disagree. Bryan on the mic sounds like a Christian school teacher. No hair on his chest. You missed my super chat. Did I? Did I not read it? I thought. Let me go down. Yes. Mitchell said, what are we scheduling? A match in February or March? I'm confused. They taught Revolution, which is in March. February, isn't it? Isn't it February? I thought Revolution was in February. They get the match at Revolution, which I thought was Feb. But in all fairness, he's got to win until February 4th. So he's got to win every week until early Feb. That then gets him a match at Revolution. If Revolution is in March, then the title match will be in March. Oh, yeah, these two are Swerve. I remember these two from a couple of weeks ago. Mogul Affiliates founder. Is that what they're called? The Mogul Affiliates. So Swerve making his way down with Parker, Bordeaux, and I can't remember the name of the other guy. Mogul Affiliates. Right, Swerve. I don't know who he's facing, can't remember. Also, email explains why I've not been in the streams. Okay. AEW Revolution is on the 5th of March. Well, that's where they get the title match. So he's got to win matches until early Feb, and then he gets his title match at Revolution, which honestly I thought was at the end of February, but early March, fine. Could we see Nash Carter in WWE, possibly setting a match up against Wesley for the North American title? No. They won't touch Nash Carter. Even if the allegations against him are not true about him beating up his wife, right? Even if those, it's going to be hard to prove they're not true because it's one person's word against the other. And so it's going to be really difficult to prove that that's not true. And there was a picture of him like dressing up as Hitler, which, I mean, I just don't see I don't see a way back for him. I can't see a way back for him. He's just an idiot. He's just an idiot. I think he's done stuff in his own home, right? Which I don't know if he did attack. If he did, then he's scum, right? And he doesn't deserve to come back from that. But I think he might not have done it. And we've said before, like the Hitler picture, when you're shaving, right? You shave, you have a shave, you might leave that bit in the middle last. And you might have a moment where you look in the middle and you go, oh, look, the Hitler moustache thing, That's all you would think. You wouldn't think to take a picture of yourself that way and, like, have it as an image. Like, I don't get that. I don't understand that. Like, sometimes, like, when you're shaving, you might shave and then, like, you've got a handlebar moustache and then you, like, can see what you look like with a handlebar moustache, or you might, like, have certain different facial hair things. I can understand him shaving and looking in the mirror and going, oh, look, the Hitler moustache, right? That's all it is. It's nothing to do with racism or anything like that. It's just as you're shaving, you might get to that bit last, right? So I can understand that. But for him to then take a picture of it is weird, for him to go that far with it. And then, of course, I don't think he publicly published it. I think it was something that came out. I think his wife might have had the image, and she obviously claims that she had been attacked by him and assaulted by him. And so she put this image out there. And, I mean, it's just not good look, is it? It's just all of that stuff that's not going away, is it? Those types of images, they're not going away. I mean, they're out there on the internet now. And I just don't see a way back for him. I really don't. I don't see a way back. I don't see why, with so many options for wrestlers, so many wrestlers out there that are looking for work, that are really skilled, really talented, it's not as if he's God's gift to wrestling. It's not as if, like, we can't find another 10 Nash Carters, 20 Nash Carters out there. Why would you touch someone so toxic? Why would you touch someone that's got that baggage when you don't need to? You don't have to. So, you could easily find someone else to put in a tag team with Wesley if you wanted to, like, do a new MSK type thing. So I don't see it. I just don't see it. I don't think there's a way back, unfortunately. Solid show so far. MJF's mom cheated on me with half the arena, says Fabian. But yeah, that's a bit too much, said TJB. Right, Swerve getting up to his feet. I have no idea why Taz is talking smack about me, said Swerve. Down goes AR Fox. Fox is down, Swerve with back elbow to the back of the heads. Nash Carter figures are shelf warming. Yeah, we had some on the shelves here. I mean, it was just too late to stop them, wasn't it? They'd already been shipped. I'm surprised that they didn't send an instruction out to remove them from sale. I am genuinely surprised they never removed them from sale. I understand them getting to the shops. I totally understand that. But I am surprised, considering the allegations, that they didn't remove them from sale. I mean, if this was a Benoit incident, I don't think they would have allowed Benoit figures to have still gone onto the shelves. Surely they wouldn't. Surely they wouldn't. And I understand what Benoit did is a lot worse than what Nash Carter is alleged to have done, because, killing someone and, a child as well is, the worst thing you can do, right? So I am fully aware that there is a massive difference here, right? Fully aware. But I don't know where you draw that line. I don't know where the line is as to when you send that instruction of take this figure off sale. I just thought it was interesting that clearly that instruction didn't go out for what Nash Carter was alleged to have done. Because I could go to Target. Well, I don't have a Target, but I could go to Smith's. I saw one the other day, a Nash Carter figure. I could go to the shops right now and pick one up. It's just kind of surprising, isn't it, that that was deemed not being worthy of sending that instruction. But I don't think there's any doubt that if a Benoit incident had happened like last year, if Nash Carter had been guilty of that, I don't think there's any doubt that that instruction would have been sent. These figures do not hit the shelves. Swerves up. Plants AR Fox. 1, 2, flatline. Oh, shoulder up by AR Fox. I thought this was just going to be a squash, Don't really know much about AR Fox. This probably should be a squash in my mind. AR Fox going over to the corner. Swerve climbing up. Still to come, we've got Samoa Joe defending against Darby Allin. We've got the former baddie, Kiera Hogan and Skye Blue, taking on Jade and Red Velvet. We've got Red against Blue, which is very much with the new theme when you think about it. That's nice by AR Fox. That was good. AR Fox going over to the corner, jumps up top. AR Fox perched. And, comes splashing down. 1, 2. Boom. That would be like WWE bringing back the Velveteen Dream. DREAM is... I mean, it does open up to a whole another conversation, which is like, the whole allegation thing. I mean, you are guilty until, well, you are innocent until proven guilty. But when allegations are made online, the reaction is guilty, isn't it? Like, if you're alleged of doing something, a lot of people lay into you for it. Like, you're guilty, that's it. And I always think that's a bit dangerous. Because anyone could accuse anyone of anything. So, it's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult. I don't know if he's guilty of what he did with what his wife is accusing him of doing. I know there's an image of him dressed as Hitler, though. I've seen that. AR Fox planted on the edge of the ring. Death Valley Driver. In the ring goes AR Fox. Swerve is perched. AR Fox is sat staring at Swerve. He's too alert. Look, he's sat up. Oh, man. Look, AR Fox. AR Fox was sat there waiting for so long for Swerve to come crashing down on him. Yeah, didn't like the ending to that. AR Fox actually sat up and was sat waiting to be stomped on for a long time there. That was a good Death Valley Driver, though. Okay, well, Swerve wins. It's the right person that picks up the victory. Renee Paquette is backstage. Feels like this show has just lost a little bit in this last match. I really enjoyed the Danielson MJF thing. That last match didn't do it for me, though. Okay. Now we're with Tony, Hikaru Shida, and Saraya. I got screwed out of my championship because of them. The mystery tag partners next week. I've learned so much. We've got the best female roster. We have the best matches. Tony is the mystery partner. Hikaru Shida's gutted. Hikaru Shida feels disrespected. Read the room, Saraya. Read the room. Listen, I know a lot of people are going to say Mercedes online and everything. I never thought it was Mercedes. I did think it was Thunder Rosa. I got asked earlier today, actually, who I thought it was. And I said, I thought Thunder Rosa was going to come back. I wasn't expecting her to just do what she did there and go with Tony. But Shida's face. Shida probably going to turn heel after this, you would think. FTRIP. FTRIP. We've got a picture of FTR on the screen. The guns are coming down. May 27th, 2020 to December 21st, 2022. FTRIP. FTRIP. I don't think there's been any mention of Wrestle Kingdom, you know. It's a great day for FTR, isn't it? Well, maybe not. They lost earlier, but they got to compete at Wrestle Kingdom. Now here in a different country, over the other side of the world, they're featuring in a segment. Okay, so we got the guns. Shida tweeted, "What the F is this?" Yeah, it was. That was actually quite heelish from Saraya to praise both women and then say, "I'm sat next to one of the best wrestlers in the world, Tony," and like totally throws shade on. I can understand Shida feeling put out there. I mean, if you're gonna do that, you don't have to do it on international television. It's one thing to not select Shida, but to actually blank her on international television is next level disrespect. So I'm Team Shida on this one. Yeah, what the F was that? Their old dad bods couldn't carry the load anymore. They lost the AAA belts, the IWGP belts, the ROH belts, and they started a podcast that no one listens to. A moment of silence for FTR. James said Shida is better than Tony Storm. Did Tony really hold on to the mystery partner for that long? Yep. They're not going to be here. Their music's playing. Nah. Guns start laughing. You should have seen your goddamn faces. They will never work in AEW again. Top Guns out. Good. Yeah. I like these two. Oh, the best of final match in the best of 7 series. Is Kenny going to be all right for that match? His eye was swelling shut earlier. He took a hell of a beating. Might take longer than a week to recover. Muta for the Rumble confirmed. Where's that confirmed, Meave? Where's it confirmed? Where's that confirmed? That's really interesting if true. Muta in the Rumble. Right, here's Skye Blue. Skye Blue, and here's Kiera Hogan. Okay, Skye Blue and Kiera Hogan coming down. Sean Ross Sapp. Jade Cargill and Red Velvet. That's great news. Having a legend like Muta in the Rumble is brilliant. I'm really excited about that. Jamie got spoiled if it is out there, but what the F is this? Says here, Saraya said Tony Storm is going to be her partner. Laughing face emoji. I don't know if he's laughing because he doesn't believe it, or maybe he's thinking there could be a swerve. Don't know. I was looking for this Great Muta thing. Great Muta. Can't see anything on it, but if you see the article, send it over. Muta's gonna miss Dom. Today, Wrestle Kingdom enjoyed the spectacular Kenny Ospreay. It was very good. Feels like a swerve, said Doppelganger. He had a thought about Muta, and everyone else takes that he will be in it. Muta is going to miss Dominic. Great Muta versus Asuka. I heard Rumble. I was wondering when the Rumble is. Rumble at the end of the month, innit? 28th. 28th. I'd love the Great Muta to be in the Rumble. I think that is the kind of name you would want in the Rumble. You know, you're talking about one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time. Who I don't know if he's ever been in WWE. I'm trying to think. I'm sure they've definitely done things abroad. But I don't think he's ever been in WWE in America. I think they've done WWE shows that I think he might have featured on when they've gone to Japan. I know that Hogan wrestled him, for example, but I don't think that was under a WWE banner. That's just when Hogan used to get an opportunity to go over to compete in Japan, even though he was still under contract with WWE. But either way, you talk about one of the best professional wrestlers ever. That's exactly the kind of thing that, because the great thing about the Rumble is if someone comes out like the Great Muta that, say, the kids these days don't know about, right, which you can understand. They're like, who's this guy, right? Well, it doesn't matter, does it? Because a few minutes later, there's going to be someone else. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. That one wasn't for you. Don't worry about it. But for the rest of us, it would be like, oh my God, the Great Muta is in a WWE ring. He's in the Royal Rumble. Like, be amazing. So I'd love that. I'd love that. Jushin Thunder Liger, that would have been awesome. Just any of these kind of old school wrestling legends. Brilliant. Aja Kong for the women's would be great. But we'll have to wait and see. If Sean Ross Sapp said that he's going to be in it, I would buy that. Sean Ross Sapp's pretty good. Like normally when he says stuff, it comes true. So I hope that's out there. Haven't seen it, but yeah, if you do see it, send me the article. Sky Blue, down. We are underway with this. Then we've got 20 minutes to go. This isn't our main event, of course, so don't think this is going to take too long. 16 hours ago, Sean Ross Sapp said they've got to have him in the Rumble, but not that he's in the Rumble. The Great Muta in the Rumble would be the second time that another superstar from different company, the Great Muta, I think him and Shinsuke could have a rematch, said Alex. Sadly, there's people with blue check marks still in denial that it's not going to be anyone but Sasha. They're now claiming it's a swerve. Do you think that's the case? Will Tony get attacked? I've never thought that it was going to be Mercedes. I still don't think it's Mercedes. If she gets attacked and is taken out, then I think it's going to be Thunder Rosa, right? That's where I am with it. I think that I think that Sasha going to New Japan makes sense. She loves Japanese culture. She's spoken about that many times before. She's trained in Japan. She's trained with Miko Satomura. I think she's got a deep appreciation for that. I don't know that appreciation extends to AEW. The money would have to be really good. If the money was really good, the kind of money that you just wouldn't want to turn down, Sure. She could go. Sure. Making waves, being the center of attention. That's all stuff that plays into Sasha's wheelhouse. So I can definitely see reasons as to why she would do it. But I've not seen enough to suggest that she is going to be that mystery person. I've not seen enough to suggest that that's the case. So yeah, for me, I'm still of the opinion this is a way of bringing back Thunder Rosa. But she's just selected Toni Storm and said it's going to be Toni Storm. So I think you've got to say Toni Storm's the person it's going to be. I think it's going to be Toni. And then if she does get attacked, then I think it could be Thunder Rosa. And then on the list would be Mercedes, but she's low down for me. She's low down. Right, we've got Kiera Hogan in there. This match is awful, said John O. Her interview at Wrestle Kingdom said she was going on a world tour of money, domination, or something along those lines. She said that she wanted to raise the yen, and then she said she wants to raise the dollar and raise the peseto and all of this, but I didn't get, again, it's not her saying that she's going to wrestle around the world and all this kind of stuff. Like, she wants to just be a star. It could be that she comes to America and does acting. Could be that she's got an album coming out. Like, there's lots of things that she could do. There's lots of projects that she could get her teeth into. If you want to read into what she said, that she's coming to AEW, fine. It didn't suggest that to me. Red Velvet jumps off the edge of the apron. Kick out by Jade's. Kick by Jade's. Jade having to deal with this on her own. She's been disrespectful to Red Velvet. Jade Cargill gets the victory. Red Velvet is going to walk away, so looks like Jade's lost a baddie. A nasty, or whatever they're called. Nasty baddies. Maybe Shida could attack Toni, said Donalds. Maybe. Do you think New Japan could have stars from their roster on Raw, SmackDown? Will they do well? Maybe Tamatonga, Okada, Jay White. There would have to be a relationship between WWE and New Japan, and to my knowledge, there isn't one. So I mean, could they go there? Well, they could if there was a relationship, but there hasn't been one since the early 90s, late 80s, and I don't know that there will be one. Interesting turn of events. Right, we've got Renee, we've got Jeff Jarrett, we've got Jay Lethal. Carney BS, says Jeff Jarrett. He's not happy about how that match played out. That was bad, said James. Is Rampage going to be live? I don't know. I'm guessing so. Derek said, I guarantee Sasha will be in AEW teaming with Saraya. Find out next week? We'll find out next week. There's nothing to say 100% that she won't be. No one can say, 100% she's definitely not. Right? There's nothing to say, but there's nothing to say 100% she is. So my take on it was, I think they're going to use this as a way of bringing back Thunder Rosa. I mean, Thunder Rosa must be due a return. Don't forget, she's the champ that never lost the belt. She got stripped of it because of injury. She never actually lost it. So it would make sense that, you've got Britt and the current champion, and then you've got Saraya and the champ that never lost the belt in Thunder Rosa returning from injury. So I looked at it and went, well, that makes sense. That makes sense. And she's already under contract. And I can understand why they would want to hype up her return, because it would be a big return. This is the woman that was the champ that never lost the belt. So I can understand why you might want to go down the road of mystery partner and do all of that. So that's why for me, like, Thunder Rosa made a lot of sense. There's nothing to say that it won't be Mercedes, but I'm not expecting Mercedes, as I keep saying. And who knows? I mean, look, they've announced it's Tony now, so it could turn out to be Tony. Yeah, you'd have to say Tony's the front runner because they've just said it is Tony. But there could be an attack. Could be. We'll find out next week. All I would say is that if it is going to be Mercedes, I think using your TV time to say there's no longer a mystery partner is a really stupid thing to do. If it is going to be Mercedes next week that's going to be on the show, wouldn't you just continue with the mystery partner angle? Wouldn't you just keep that going? Because all of a sudden now the message has gone out to everyone. There's no mystery partner anymore. There's no mystery. So all of that hype is going to go away. So if it is going to be Mercedes, why would you do that? Here's Darby Allin. I wish wrestling had contracts that allowed you to have any match anywhere, anytime. We could have a card of Roman one week and then get Roman Jericho, said Alex. I think that'd be rubbish, to be truthful. I think it'd be rubbish. Because I think then you'd just have loads of wrestlers going around and everything would just get a bit messy. Like when you tune into AEW, you know this is the only place that you can watch these superstars. And when you watch WWE, you know this is the only place that you can watch them. If wrestlers were like constantly moving around, which you would imagine they would because of, you know, like they've got that freedom, then you'd be getting like dream matches a lot more, which would then they would be devalued because you'd be seeing those types of matches on a more regular basis. And then, like, you know, nowhere would feel as special because all of a sudden Roman's in New Japan, he's on AEW, he's on WWE. Like, I actually don't think that would be very good. It's better to do it the way we're doing it, which is everyone stays where they are, and then you get the odd person move, and then you've got something to read. Like Cody now. Cody can face Roman. And who knows, you know, I mean, look, you might end up getting Roman and Omega at some point. Their paths might cross somewhere. Maybe Omega finds his way to WWE. Maybe Roman has a one-off match in New Japan against Omega or something at some point. So, you know, if there was a desire by Omega and Roman to make that match a reality, if that's something they wanted, I'm sure they could eventually find a way. Joe has come down. He's grabbed someone from the crowds. AEW is necessary. More attacks on the crowd is needed, said Erasure Minds. Have you watched Glass Onion? I know Triple T has. I haven't, no. I haven't. I do want to watch it. But I need to watch the first one first. The Knives Out one. I haven't seen that either. Right, here we go then. Samoa Joe versus Darby Allin. We are underway with our main event. Undercover Manager said, Battle of the Belts next week. Does anyone else see a point in having shows called Dynamite Rampage? Because every other week, Tony Khan wants to name a show something stupid to make it seem special. Battle of the Belts, though, isn't that on a Saturday? I don't think that's a replacement for Dynamite. I think that's a separate show. I think that's a Saturday show. I do understand your point, though, because you do often get specials like Beach Bash or whatever. But I think Battle of the Belts is a Saturday show. Darby's on top of a ladder. He comes crashing down onto Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe was standing at the time. It was a foolish move in a sense. They potentially jeopardized extra ticket movements and potential eyes. A swerve is a concept, but why go through those hoops and fires? Well, the only thing I would say is that if it was Tony, and let's say it is Tony Storm, right? if you just announced that match, there would be no conversation about AEW. Would there? Who would care about Jamie and Britt versus Saraya and Tony, right? That's just a match that's going to happen, right? It's not a match that's going to really grab people's attention and get people talking. What you've managed to do is create a lot of speculation about who it could be. So that means a lot of people will be talking about AEW. You have forced people to talk about your products. Now, you could look at it and say, yeah, but now you've just annoyed and upset a load of people. I get it. But I think history has shown us that those people that you've annoyed and upset will be back on board for your next surprise next time. Like, even though you might have disappointed the people that thought that they were going to get Mercedes, right? If it does turn out to be Tony, even if you have upset the people that thought it was going to be Mercedes, they'll be right back next time you do another mystery. Next time there's something big and juicy, because everyone's attracted to the hype and the fear of missing out. Fear of missing out is very, very real. People like, for me, I didn't want to miss out on seeing Sasha in New Japan. Like, I wanted to make sure I saw that. And next time you do a mystery thing, those people will be right back again. So you've managed to get a few weeks of people talking about your product, sharing tweets, speculation. Maybe you've had YouTubers make videos on it. You've created some sort of conversation. And now, the week before you tell people, okay, this is what we're doing. We're going with Tony Storm. You will have disappointed some people, undoubtedly. But you've managed to already get something from it. And those same people will be right back next time. They'll be right back next time. Next time you do a mystery thing, they'll be right there speculating as to who it is. So what have they lost? What have they lost? Don't know that they've really lost anything. I'm going to go to sleep. I've got a headache. Tony will attack Shida next week. Lights will go out and Mercedes will show up. I am sure it will be her. But I haven't watched AEW in weeks. How is it? I think the first hour was really good. I think this second hour has not been anywhere near as good. I don't think this second hour has been as good at all. I think actually since the Daniel Bryan MJF segment, I think this show's took a turn for the worse. I haven't felt as entertained by what we've seen since then. But I think the first part of the show was bouncing, man. I reckon you could have got a fantastic hour out of tonight's show. You could have had an incredible hour, but 2 hours, I think we're struggling a little bit here. That Jade Cargill women's tag match was not great. The AR Fox Swerve match didn't really do it for me. The guns were pretty good. I didn't mind that segment. That was all right. I don't know that it made the show better, but that was all right. And main event time, Samoa Joe, Darby Allin battling for championship. Don't know which one. One of the championships. Picture in picture, we were in. So Darby Allin getting hurled into a ring post. He goes outside the ring. Big kick coming in by Samoa Joe. We've got about 6 minutes to go. It's been reported that Sasha has signed with AEW for 6 appearance deals, 3 of them being pay-per-views. Where's this reported, Gio? Where's this reported? Because I've not seen that report. I've not seen anything that says that Sasha is signed with AEW. Do you look like a journalist with your new backgrounds? Well, to be honest, I don't really like this background. I need to change it. I just went with this because it was the new setup. But yeah, I will look for something different. It's not very good. It had the mountains. Do you remember the mountains for Christmas? I got rid of those because it's not Christmas anymore. But I just went for this because it's different. But this is not permanent. I don't think this background is very good at all. Soraya could have said that she can't choose Tony or Shida and is going to go with Mercedes and left it at that. Then the night of Mercedes is Mercedes Martinez is her partner. No, that might have backfired. There's upsetting people, and then there's outright really annoying and clickbaiting and all of that stuff. So, I mean, in a way, it's not clickbait. It is Mercedes, but to bring out Mercedes Martinez would have been really cheeky. Anyone known from WWE and New Japan would break wrestling in a great way. Kenny versus Roman would be one of the greatest matches ever, but Seth J. White would be amazing. There's some major clickbait doing the rounds. An article by Wrestling Co. stole a tweet from a dude at DAZN saying Sasha is a mystery partner and has turned it into Sasha has signed. There's some YouTube channels that are known for that, though. There's some YouTube channels out there that literally, they don't even hide it. You know, the stuff they talk about is just flat out lies. But they get the clicks. They get the views. 1, 2, shoulder up. I don't think there's anyone who sweats more than Samoa Joe. It's a TNT championship, says Boomers. Right. I'm sort of ready now for this to end. I'm ready now for Dynamite to wrap up. Great first hour. We went into the second hour fairly decent, but I don't know, man. I'm not feeling this. I don't know what I like. Samoa Joe. I don't mind Darby Allin either. Perhaps this is one where, because I didn't see last week, so I never even watched last week's Dynamite. I didn't just not do the stream. I didn't even get a chance to watch the show. Perhaps I would have been a bit more hyped for this if I'd have, like, I don't know, seen the builds last week. Let's go Darby chants. The crowd are into it, though. Crowd are into it. What we'll do is, we've only got 3 minutes to go, so we'll put the poll up. Put the poll up. What did you think of AEW Dynamite? In the corner goes Samoa Joe. Ba-bum, bum, bum. Ba-dum. Pulls off that turnbuckle. We've got an exposed turnbuckle. 1, 2. Coquina clutch. Yeah, nice counter. Shoulder up there by Samoa Joe. Darby in the corner. Back elbow as Samoa Joe charges over. Darby goes up. Flips over the top. Gets caught. I mean, all that weight as well being put on Darby. He's getting choked out. Darby's in big trouble here. Darby trying to power back out of this move. Joe goes into the corner. Darby. Oh, nice. Code red. Code red by Darby. Darby up. Coffin drop. I think he's going for a second coffin drop. Second coffin drop. Darby 1, 2, 3. Darby beats Samoa Joe and becomes the new TNT champion. Darby Allin beats Samoa Joe. Boom, boom, boom. How sweet it is to be loved by you. Darby wins. That's a bad decision. Joe must be injured, said Raw. Sure. Heather said yes. Lone Star Friend says boo. Jojo said Darby is a wrestling god. We've got confetti going off. Confetti. Have I got any confetti? I think I can get confetti. Gonna get confetti. Oh, it's gonna take ages to set up. Hang on. Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, I haven't got time to sort the green screen out. Yeah, woo. Hang on, I might be able to sort it out. Yeah, hang on, I'll do it again. Oh, look, he's won. Yay! Why did it go black first? Start of the video is black. There, that's it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Yay! Darby wins. Fixed it. Sorted it live on stream. Click. Boom. Look at that. Yay! Can I just say this video goes for 3 minutes. What's left? It goes again, yeah! I was like, this video goes on for 3 minutes. What do we get? I didn't know what we were gonna get. We might have got some man come on and just said something. Does that mean that when this ends, it goes again? Do one more time. 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 Hey! Whoa! It's different. It was shooting him from the sides before. Now it's... God, this is good, isn't it? This is good. We should have this going off after every match. As soon as there's a winner that's been announced, we should just let the confetti cannons go off. I love that one. That one was good. What's the next one? One more time. One more time. One more time. Oh, whoa! This is like New Year's Eve. This is like New Year's Eve. In the middle, and then 2 at the sides. That was nice, wasn't it? That was nice. One more time. One more time. One more time. There's 1 minute and 30 left of this video. So I feel like there is going to be at least one more. That was in the middle, and then... What do we get now? I want it to... I wasn't keen on that one. I wasn't keen. That just kind of splattered up. I want it to, like, rain down. I want it to come from the top, really. That would be nice. That'd be nice. I could probably put this... I could move this behind... Did I move this to the background? Does that do? Let's have a look. I've moved it now. Let's see what the next one is. It should happen behind... It should be behind me now. Have a look. Come on, here we go. Oh, it is raining down! Ah! That's the best! Yay! It is raining down! Best one! Look at it as well! Like proper going for... Go on, confetti! Well, I'll tell you what, we've proper celebrated Darby Allin's success there, haven't we? We didn't go that big for anything at WrestleMania. Oh, he's definitely won today. Oh, I tell you, we've all won today. We've all won today. That was sick. I really wanted it to rain down, and the last one did it. Amazing. And it looks good in the background as well. It's raining men. Hallelujah. Very good. Very good. Ah, the simple pleasures in life, says Blaze Radio. Indeed. Indeed. But listen, I can't beat that. I'm not even going to try. They always say, like, know when to get out. Get out. There's no way of topping that one, so... right, we have got... there's the results in the chat. 39% of people said 8 to 10. 32% of people said 7 to 775. 20% of people said 6 to 675. 7% went 575 or below. I'd probably be about a 7.5. I thought the first hour was really good. Second hour, I think it dipped down. I didn't think it was as strong. I think they could have been on for something really good in the 8s for me personally, had they have maintained that first hour. But I think it did just dip down. But still, lovely refresh, really enjoyable show overall. Not a chore to watch in the slightest. And some really good stuff. I really loved that first match. That Jericho-Ricky Starks match, I thought was brilliant. So really enjoyed that. Plenty to take away. Yeah, good. Right, we're done. I'm getting out. I can't beat that confetti thing. So appreciate the support. Thanks a lot for watching. We are back on Friday for SmackDown. And we are going to be doing Tank Davis boxing on Saturday. Should be really good. Last time we did a Tank Davis fight, we got a load of people joining us. Very, very popular fighter. Very popular fighter. So looking forward to seeing him in action once again. Awesome, guys. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your evenings. I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.